On this episode, we review the chef's table at Victoria and Albert's. Today's December 6, 2024. This is episode 726 of the Main Street Magic Podcast.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts. Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Main Street Magic. I'm your host, Jeremy Stein, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely wife, Rhonda.
Hey guys! Make sure you check us out on the web at mainstmagic.com, as well as follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at mainstmagic, and on TikTok at MSM Podcast.
If you want to be part of the community and join the conversation, in addition to live streams from the parks and our weekly live show, head to Facebook and search for the Main Street Magic community and ask to join.
And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can get brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday.
Planning a trip to Disneyland or Walt Disney World can be overwhelming and at times just downright frustrating. But don't worry, because Mouse Dining removes the frustration of booking Disney dining reservations, alerting you when they spot availability for your desired restaurant, date, meal, and time. Visit msmfriends.com to use this free service. Ready for your next bucket list trip? Our trusted partner, MEI-Travel, will handle the planning so you can focus on the memories. They offer free vacation planning services and have nearly 20 years of experience creating memorable vacations. Visit mainstmagic.com/travel for a fee-free, no-obligation quote today.
And this, my friends, is the podcast you have all been waiting for.
I think it is.
We are talking today about Victoria and Albert's.
Because we went. Mm-hmm. We got to go, which is nuts. If you go back, we have two other episodes on Victoria and Albert's way back in the first 6 months.
That was not us.
John,
that was interviews.
Yeah, John went and he did a report on it. And then about a year or so ago, I interviewed somebody that had gone, and she told us all about it. But now you get to hear it from Rhonda and I think this is the most excited I have been to ever do an episode.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's not even been 24 hours.
Nope.
And I've done nothing but think about this experience since then.
Yep.
No, Josh D'Amara did not take us.
God, could you imagine?
And here's what we're going to do, because we don't really have much for notes. I did do a couple things about the history and a little bit of trivia, and we'll just cover that first. And then I think we're just going to walk through our evening. We've got the menus in front of us. We're going to talk about dishes. We're going to talk about the experience. We're going to do our best to explain everything to you. And hopefully it is everything that you had hoped you would get from us finally getting to go to Victoria and Albert's, which, to be honest, is one of those bucket list items for me that I thought we will probably experience it sometime in our life, but I can't guarantee it.
Yeah.
Right? Did you kind of feel that same way? A little bit? And I know it wasn't quite as high on your list of experiencing for yourself as it probably was for me.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And this is top 3 bucket list Disney items for me.
Yeah. And it was on mine to see you, and it was amazing.
Yeah. Well, let's talk history, because Victoria and Albert's opened in 1988. That was part of Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa. It was going to offer an unparalleled luxury dining experience. It is named after Queen Victoria and Prince Albert, evoking a sense of regal elegance in 19th century sophistication. This has a AAA 5-diamond award since 2000, Forbes Travel Guide 5-star since 2018, Wine Spectator Best of Award of Excellence, Florida Trend Golden Spoon Hall of Fame, American Regional, and then in 2022 got its first Michelin star.
That's a big deal.
Huge deal. Michelin star is an award given to restaurants that offer exceptional cooking, and they basically have 5 criteria when they award stars. There's up to 3 stars. 1, 2, 3. And you can lose stars. You can be relegated. Or delegate. Which is the one? It's a soccer thing. I don't know. All right, anyway. So basically, it's the quality of the ingredients, the harmony of flavors, the mastery of techniques, the personality of the chef, and the consistency across the menu and over time. Then in 2024, Michelin Guide Florida Service Award to the maitre d' Israel Perez, who is their maitre d' there. So their executive chef is Kevin Chong. He's led the culinary team to craft a menu that blends classical techniques with modern flavors and innovation. This is a very Victorian era, exquisite atmosphere. Mm-hmm. It is absolutely stunning in here.
Yes, it is.
These are custom prefixed menus. They will adjust them, of course, to dietary preferences or any sort of restrictions. There is a chef's table, which is the one that we ate at. Now, this is located in the kitchen. It offers an exclusive interactive experience where guests can watch the culinary magic unfold and enjoy a personalized tasting menu. Mm-hmm. There is the Queen Victoria Room. This private dining space provides an even more exclusive and romantic setting, perfect for special occasions. And then you have basically the main dining hall. They have wine pairings with over 500 selections on their wine list.
Wow.
Which is insane. And then they are known to use seasonal ingredients. It's going to showcase rare and seasonal things like truffles, caviar, and Japanese Wagyu beef. There is a live harpist in the main dining hall that is playing throughout your dinner. And then, of course, they're known for their absolutely exceptional service because each table is assigned 2 dedicated servers. Imagine Disney Cruise Line in a bit as far as that goes, like the 2 servers, right? So they're kind of tag teaming. You kind of almost have a main server and then what I'd consider almost like that secondary kind of beverage server that you get here as well. How do you want to start? Where do you want to start with this whole thing?
Well, let's start with the very beginning where Jeremy wanted to come down on Saturday.
The year was 1979.
No, it wasn't. But it was Saturday and our dinner was Saturday. And I was like, no. Like, and also, by the way, back to like what Jeremy was explaining and everything. This is a formal attire.
Yes.
And I don't think you can wear.
No, this is not like a California grill where if you happen to show up in your park gear, you're okay. You're not okay. Yeah, this is formal, very strict attire. Guest code you must adhere to.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, I was like, no, if we can, let's go Friday, please. Mm-hmm. Which was very, very smart on our part because it was nice. We already had the room. We got to go back. And while I was taking a very long time getting ready, Jeremy got to watch a movie. And I just showered and took my time. Mm-hmm. So we got ready and we went over to the Grand Floridian. Got some pictures. It was very, very busy this day.
Oh, my goodness.
Super busy.
Thanksgiving weekend with the gingerbread house. Yeah. Grand Flow tree up. Like, wow.
I mean, they were asking people to park at TTC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was crazy.
Which I've always said, and we'll have to ask in a couple of days, Jill and Steve, when they check out of Grand Flow, what their overall thoughts were. Because we've always said in the past, like, man, how cool would it be to stay at Grand Flow at Christmas? But then you've got to combat with all these people that aren't staying there. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, what is that like to truly be there? But like, you can't just walk down in the afternoon and maybe have a cup of coffee and sit in a chair and relax because it is just nuts.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I don't know. That would be curious. But, so we got all dressed up at All-Star Music.
Yeah.
And
I want to know, like, are we the first 2 people ever to stay at All-Star Music and dine at Victoria and Albert's at the chef's table? Because I feel like we might be.
I don't know, man. You got to save money where you can.
Yeah.
So anyways, we went over from there to the Grand Flow and it was really neat driving up because first of all this crazy construction and everything going on.
It's a mess.
And then again, people saying you can't park and so we pulled up and I said dining reservations, I think, for Victoria and Albert's, and I had my ID ready and I had a magic band, and because with Jill, we were on the reservations, and pretty much before anything, he says, everybody says Steen, but Miss Steen, yes, and valet's waiting for you or something. Yeah. And I was like, oh, what?
Yeah. I mean, they were prepared.
Crazy.
They were ready for us coming. So that's where, honestly, the experience starts.
Yeah, it was.
I feel
It was
like.
amazing.
Yeah.
I pull up, and get my truck valeted, and which was nice because my dress was, it was very, very nice cold Florida night.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, this is gonna be nice. We can get right inside. I don't have to walk, and I also had some brand new shoes on, which I do not recommend.
Right.
But I was not walking a ton and
Right.
doing this. So yeah, so we go in, we get some pictures. We hang out for a little bit, and then Jill and me and Jeremy went upstairs to check in, and promptly at 5:30, they were ready for us, not a minute before. And then when we went through the dining room to get to our table, not a single other person beside the servers were there, and just welcoming us and saying our names. And I mean, I look like probably like a deer in headlights. My eyes were so big. I'm just like, and Jeremy looked like the Cheshire cat with grinning from ear to ear walking through.
I mean, it's insane. I mean, literally, because and this is
amazing.
the chef's table. You are the first to arrive.
Yep.
And you are the first to be sat.
Yep.
So you do not have to walk through a dining room already filled with people or coming and going or whatever. And yeah, I mean, it's nuts. Every single wait staff, every single chef, sous chef, whoever is there is standing as you walk through them, and it's not, and all the way through the kitchen.
And I was trying to,
crazy.
and I
they're
was
literally
trying to
saying,
look
because it's
around.
Jill's 70th birthday,
Yes.
and they're literally saying, happy birthday, Jill. Welcome, Steins. Like, every person there knows who you are. They know your name. They know why you're there. Like, it's just nuts until they literally sit you after you walk through the entire kitchen in this small room that is just technically off of the kitchen but connected to it.
Yeah.
At a table that only seats 4, and the chef's table only sits once per night.
Yes.
So there is some turnover within the main dining room, but chef's table is 1 per night. So we would be the only 3 people dining at the chef's table on November 30th, 2024. That's it. Just the 3 of us.
That was amazing.
And we're looking into the kitchen of a Michelin star restaurant with the opportunity to watch them prepare the food that we're about to eat, which is just like a dream come true for me.
I just started
first
to
of all.
say, yeah.
I mean, if you just told me, like, somebody said, Jeremy, you can come sit on a stool in the corner of the kitchen at 3 Bridges for 4 hours, I would be like, yes, please. Do I get to eat anything? No. Okay, that's fine. Can I have some water? No. Is it going to be hot? It's going to be miserable. You have to sit there. You're not allowed to say a word. All you can do is observe. I'd be like, sign me up immediately. I will go right now. Like, it fascinates me to watch kind of like those inner workings, you know?
Yeah. I enjoy it, but it doesn't fascinate me. I think it's neat. As it is neat to see anybody do a job,
Yeah.
you know? Okay.
So we are sat at the table, which of course you were walked back here while we're saying that we're going through all this, and we're sat at that table. And then we are introduced, I think at that time it was to Matt and Joe, who would be
But Joseph
our
took us
servers.
back.
Yes, Joseph is the one that walked us all the way back.
Yep.
Matt and Joe would be our 2 servers. And then throughout the night, we would also interact with Miguel, who's one of the chefs, as well as Sean.
Yes.
Because they would come out in each dish, and we'll kind of talk about that as we go through it, as they'll present it to you, and then they'll explain it to you in what's in it, the preparation styles, like
Right.
any
How
other
long
cool
it
little,
takes.
how long it takes, little trivia things, history of it, whatever. And then you get to eat it, and then as they walk away, and you enjoy it, and it's like that. So it's broken up, and this experience for us took almost 4 hours.
Yes. So we walked in at 5:30, and I believe we were walking out around almost 9:15.
Yeah. Yeah, so just shy of 4 hours, which when you hear, because this was a 12-course menu, right? You can start in the dining room, which is a 7-course menu, and that runs starting at
$295.
Okay, then you have the Queen Victoria's room.
Yes.
How much is that one?
I think that's starting around $375.
Yeah, and then the chef's table.
Which is $425.
Right, and these are per person. And then there are wine pairings, and there are 0 proof pairings as well. Jill did the wine pairing, and I did the 0 proof pairing, so I'll get to talk about those as we go through
Wine
as well.
pairings are
Wine pairings
210.
210 and zero proof 145. They are they start at lower prices when you're in the main dining hall because they're going to be slightly different. Because you're not going to get as much because they're not stacking up against a 12-course meal, as opposed to like a 7 or 10 or whatever it may be out there. So they pretty much start with Matt explaining like the experience, and here's what's happening, and you're at the chef's table, and kind of a little bit of history and the stuff that we talked about earlier. And then Miguel comes out and for a champagne toast to kind of kick it off. And Miguel really tells you more about the kitchen, what you're going to see, that what you're looking at for us on the right side was the seafood station. To the left of that was the meat station. Just beyond that was like the pastry area. And so he's kind of pointing out, there's chef himself, Miguel, and Justin, who's the really tall guy, and Gabby, who's one of the other head chefs that you'll see them walking around.
Yeah.
He says, at any point you can stop anyone and ask them questions, or, if you see them doing something in the kitchen that you want to know about, you can, hey, excuse me, what are you doing there type thing.
Is that your biggest regret?
Yeah. So here I have two regrets, I would say, from it.
All right.
And a lot of that's
get
just
the negative out of the way.
Yeah. A lot of that's just personality style is one. I did not ask, and it didn't come with the menu that they gave us, the zero proof menu. Now I have the photos, we have them in front of us, and I'm going to do my best to describe them. I'm probably not going to be able to tell you as much as I would like about them.
Yeah. I'll try to remember too.
Yeah, but what matters is you're going to hear what we thought about them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can tell you that every single one is meticulously crafted. Some of them take several days.
Yes.
And each one is paired with a dish that is coming out to you. And I believe, again, I'll have to count as we go through. It was 8, 9 drinks throughout.
I think this is going to be really cool hearing from you too, because you have drank plenty of alcohol in your past.
Yeah.
And this being a non-alcoholic, I'm very
the comparisons
excited.
And the second kind of regret is that I do wish I would have asked.
Yeah,
more
only
questions.
so, and we'll I'm like,
and I wish
where
I
do
had
we
gotten
say
a
this?
photo of the chef's table and the dining room area.
And Matt.
Matt
Was a very
that was a very handsome man. He looked like
man.
a combination between Jake Gyllenhaal and Paul Rudd.
Yes.
And just as nice, as friendly as could be.
I feel like
He's
he was
been there
our
for
age.
8
I wanted to
years.
ask too.
I know. I think he might have been slightly younger. But
You
just,
think
I
he
mean,
was
the
younger?
nicest guy. And I will tell you,
Does that
like,
make us old?
the knowledge, unbelievable.
Oh, it was amazing.
Like, I almost want to go back and be like, I'm going to try and like throw something at him he doesn't know an answer to, because I don't know if there's anything.
Yeah.
I could have started asking about I don't know, like E
Well,
equals MC squared or something, and he'd be like, I know that.
The
like,
only
so
question
knowledgeable.
that was asked about the kitchen and what they were doing
This was funny.
was Jill actually asked it, and I had probably a really good seat because Jeremy was next to me, and then I felt like I could just see dead on the seafood side.
Yeah, you got a straight shot.
Straight shot. And there was a younger kid, and that's where I'm like, so then my brain was like, and I never asked any questions, but my brain was wanting to be like, how you get here? Where'd you go to school?
Yes, thank you.
Did you go to school?
I would love to
like,
know that.
because this kid, like, he was a good looking kid, but I'm like,
He looked like a kid.
I can't gauge ages anymore.
I know.
I mean,
bad at it.
I'm so bad at it. I usually ask like older people, like your children's age.
Mm-hmm.
And then I try to base that off. All right, well, if they got kids around my age, they're probably my mommy's and daddy's
right.
age or your parents' age.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, and if they got younger, then they might be 10 years older than me. And it's just so anyways, but this kid, I would try to guess, and then I'm like thinking, does he have to go to college? I mean, I'd try to guess like mid-20s.
Yeah, he looked like it.
So I'm like,
Yeah, I would love to know everybody's path
what
to their position
yeah,
that
how do
they
you
got
get
there.
and work here? Like,
A Victorian
yeah.
Albert.
So anyways,
like,
he
man.
was the one that I kept watching, and I swear he like dropped in a package hot dogs, and I was like, What? And there's some, y'all might have been conversating, and I might have been conversating too, but I was staring and watching. And then he looks like he pulls out hot dog buns, and Jeremy ends up seeing what I'm seeing, and he's like, "No, those are eclairs," and he toasted him. So then they looked almost like, I don't know if he burned them exactly,
I think that's
but
chocolate.
So then Jeremy's saying all this stuff, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's a hot dog. And then it come to find out, the cool story is, and you can lead with this because I think you remember Joe saying it.
They were sausages, basically. Yeah. So it was funny because Jill asked, and I think we already mentioned, we were here celebrating Jill's 70th birthday. And so she actually asked, she's like, "Are those sausages?" And they're like, I don't think you're technically supposed to see that, but basically the kitchen staff has to eat too. And so they'll prepare things like that. So he was literally making up 8 full sausages and brioche buns. It looked pretty good. He was putting some sort of chutney on them. Did you see before he took them to people?
And apparently,
that Matt was the one telling us that they used to have pizza nights.
I started to say apparently the chefs have done this before. And I mean, I guess technically, if we wanted a bite of and tasted the hot dog, they would have.
I'm sure they
probably
would
given it to us.
But yeah,
but
homemade pizza, from scratch, and that's their treat and what they're eating, which I just thought was super cool to hear that stuff. And those are the type of behind the scene things that you don't always get at places.
Yeah, and it was just amazing. But those are the two things.
Yeah, those are the two things. Again, going back. And then the third thing, because we're going to kind of start going through the menu and the experience, is I like to think that I can do a good job of describing food, or we do, by comparing it to other things. You'll often hear us talk about a burger or something, and then we compare it to a burger at another place. Or we'll compare a Via Napoli food to a Olive Garden because they're familiar flavors to people. This is going to be the hardest explanation of dishes I have ever had to do because
you can't compare it to anything.
You can't compare it, and
because Jeremy and
it is so hard to explain things that you didn't know existed in the flavor world.
Well, yeah, and you and I are not cultured on.
What are you talking about with us?
We're not on fancy restaurants. It's not like we do this once a year and go, all right, we're going to find a Michelin star restaurant. We're going to go dine at.
First and only Michelin star restaurant that we have been to.
And I mean, I hate to say it this way, but I do believe we need to find something maybe in St. Augustine or something that's and go and sit down and spend the money and try so we can maybe, but I mean, it's not like we've been around the world.
There's 28 Michelin star restaurants within Florida. So there are ones that we could find, right?
I think we should.
Yeah.
Because
to really see what that experience is like at other levels. And one thing I do want to say too is I was wearing a 3-piece suit. Ron is in his gorgeous dress. Jill is dressed to the nines. We all look fabulous.
We do.
We look like we're at, heading into some celebrity dinner party.
We did.
People
were looking
at
us.
I love
it.
It
was
neat. It was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And you walk through the dining hall, and the way that everybody greets you, it is stuffy. It's elegant. It's fancy. This chef's table was one of the most relaxing dining experiences I've ever had. I never felt once we sat down and they laid a napkin in our lap.
Yeah.
Beyond that, they're going to bring you these fancy plates and these fancy presentations, and there's silverware for every dish, and it's special to that dish and all this. Outside of those types of things, I didn't feel out of place or awkward or this was too fancy for me to be there as you're staring into an open kitchen. You know what I mean? Do
you think you would have felt too fancy in the other room?
Yeah, 100%. I think in the main dining hall or the Queen Victoria room, I think would feel much more fancy, stuffy. We ended up having just very friendly conversations with, Matt and Joe and some of the other folks. I think that would have
been in the...
I think so too, but I think it would have a different feel because remember, we're the only 3 people there, and it feels like you are the only 3 people in Victorian, like this felt like Victorian Albert's. Like I didn't think once during our 4-hour experience, oh yeah, there's a bunch of people out there eating as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I saw them plating dishes because I basically saw them plating any dish that we had that they were having out there. We got first from what I could tell.
Yeah.
Because I would see a dish come in front of us and then I would watch them plate for it to go out into the main dining hall. But I didn't think this felt too stuffy. I didn't think it felt too fancy. I didn't feel out of place. Maybe I did a little bit with the caviar, but
I don't feel like you should have either. I mean, as far as you mean,
but that's a lot of people's fears that even they might go, you know what? I like food. I have some money to spend on it. But I'm not the type to get all dressed up and have to worry about which side, my glass is on or my fork is on or how to do this or how do I drink a wine. It was just like even the conversations that Jill had with Matt about the wine that she was tasting with each meal it was very natural and nothing felt stuffy or awkward. The only reason I didn't invoke more conversation is that's just my personality type to not get up and walk to the edge and say, excuse me, are you making hot dog? Like, it's just not my personality type, but it's not because I didn't feel welcome to do so.
Okay. All right.
Does that make more sense than your standing and sitting during church story from the last episode?
Okay.
Still trying to figure that one out. All right. So shall we start with the menu? Because here's the other thing that I love that Miguel said.
Yep.
He said, you're not getting a menu till the end.
Yeah.
You don't get to see a menu. Basically, we're going to bring you food. We're going to tell you about it, and you're going to eat it. I mean, And again, a very nice, elegant way. But basically,
he's like, you'll be surprised.
He said every dish is. I did too. Yeah, I was going to say, how did you feel about that?
I loved it because, it didn't give my brain time to work and look at the menu and go, oh God. Now I did have time because all of a sudden I did realize, what happens if we do have to try something that we don't like, or I'm like, oh gosh, caviar. I've never had caviar. I don't desire to. It's to me, I don't understand it. Like,
we're going to get to it in our second course, aren't we?
We are, but that's where, and then Jill was amazing. She was like, you don't have to eat it. And she was explaining, and I was like, okay. So I think if I'd have seen a menu, my brain could have done things where this was super fun and neat when they would set it in front of you and tell you. And I agree. I don't watch cooking like you do, but go ahead and say what you were going to say. Felt like.
Well, talking about the menu first and not getting to see it is normally something that would destroy me. Like I would need to know. And not knowing, like you just said, was amazing. It's almost, I'm going to try the best with some comparisons, right?
That's the hard part.
A lot of fault in the mental game of going to Disney is how much planning and preparing you have to do. It's knowing what your entire day has to look like. What time is your dining reservation? What time is your Lightning Lane multi-pass? What time is your Lightning Lane single pass? So that a lot of times while you're doing one thing, it's almost impossible for you not to think about the next thing.
Yeah.
So you're not present for the one thing.
Right.
That doesn't happen here because you don't know what the next thing is.
Right.
So you're right. There at no point is a dish being set in front of me and I'm like, I wonder if there's a beef dish and what is it and what's on it. And you know what I mean?
Right.
I can just enjoy that dish and I put my full faith and trust in them that they're going to bring us something that's amazing. Also, it made the time feel more, it made the time better. It made it feel like it lasted longer. You know what I mean? Like the time that we spent there felt even slower than 4 hours in all the best ways. Because not a single thing ever felt rushed.
Correct.
Because you weren't thinking about what was next or what was last.
Right.
Not even at one point does a chef come out, explain a dish, and oh, wait until our 9th course that has fish. And you're like, oh, there's a fish. Oh, how many course? Like, I loved it. And you just put it perfect. Your brain didn't have time to worry about what was coming. It just focused on what was there.
Yeah.
Awesome. Loved it. Now we can talk food. You think? We're going to try? Is there anything else? Like, I just don't want to miss anything.
I know. I'm trying to think because,
and more will come to us as we go through it.
Well, why don't we, before when going back to Jeremy talking about Miguel having a champagne toast with us.
Oh, yes. Thank
obviously,
you. Brought us right back to the beginning.
It was apple cider for me and Jeremy, and it was a very, very good apple cider.
Yeah, it was.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It felt higher than just your average Publix apple cider.
More champagne,
It did.
right?
It did.
And so one one of the things they will do is a week ahead of time, the lead reservation, which was Jill, they will call and speak with you, of course, about allergies, dietary restrictions, very, very important. Like I let her know I don't like mayo, mustard, or pickles.
Mm-hmm.
There was twice that Miguel came out to explain a dish and said mine specifically does not have the aioli on it because you don't like mayo. Like, again, I never had a direct conversation. That conversation happened a week prior.
Mm-hmm.
Jill is allergic to avocados.
Mm-hmm.
So there were a few dishes that they had to say, like, this one is specifically for her
Mm-hmm.
because of that. Like, that part I just thought was so incredible. I started off with a point with that about the call the week before. And I don't remember what it was now.
It's nice that the whole point is for sure dietary.
Sorry, the zero proof stuff. So at that point, I do not believe that Jill said anything like, I have somebody with me who is newly sober.
She might have, though.
I don't believe so. I have to go back and ask her. But when they came around and said, we have a wine pairing, we have a zero proof pairing, and they're proud about their zero proof pairing.
Yeah.
This isn't what we've been experiencing walking into a Disney bar and going, I don't see it on the menu. Do you have a non-alcoholic beer? And they have to like go in the back, and it's under cobwebs and stuff because they're like, nobody's ever asked for this. Like they're proud of it. They're going to tell you about it and they're going to promote it and it's going to be printed right on the menu.
Yeah.
But as soon as, we're hinting that I was going to go with the zero proof, when Matt said Miguel will come out for a champagne cocktail, we can do apple cider if you would prefer. And I think as soon as we both said yes, and his brain just went, all right, these two do not partake in alcohol.
Right.
And then therefore that's the way the rest of the evening went. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe it was.
I think that's kind of how I felt is that, again, they're trained to pick up on certain things. They picked up very quickly that these people do not drink alcohol, for whatever that reason may be. So the food.
Well, no, you're still missing.
What am I doing now? Because we had the champagne toast with Miguel.
This nice gentleman came around.
Yeah. He was this little old sweet man.
Yes. And it's a little loud in the kitchen, for one. Oh, and it's freezing in the chef's table. I had a wrap, but they actually do have the shawls for ladies. Jeremy was very comfortable the whole time. There was a couple times my legs were almost cold, so I could have almost used a shawl for my legs and the shawl for my back. But anyways, he comes around and it's kind of hard to hear, so I think he also had a accent.
Yeah, he had a very heavy accent.
And he dropped off a wine glass looking, and this is, so maybe Jeremy is correct because this was where I was a little nervous and I was trying to listen really hard. And I did hear him say, this is a zero proof.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, okay, good, cool. We can drink this. Because he like poured stuff in at the, like he brought it over and then poured it in. So I'm like, what is going on? What is happening?
This is probably this guy's job.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just this.
Yeah, maybe
for each of the tables,
possibly,
is to give them this introductory first beverage.
And
the same way, like Morimoto has a Wagyu guy. His only job is to cook Wagyu tableside. This guy's probably only job is to serve this beverage, and basically start your experience.
Yeah. So
what'd you think of it?
He was explaining it, and it is zero proof, and he starts telling all that what Jeremy will say like was in his drinks. And I don't know if that situation where, because I think this was before I can't remember if this was before they took the drink menu.
This was after the champagne toast.
Okay, because I was like, they gave champagne, and then here they're doing, and not that it's for free or whatever. It's included in the first thing before I think drinks, where they get the champagne. So you have that, And then you have the zero proof that he brings around. So it's almost kind of like, here you go. Now you want either a wine pairing or
Yeah.
a zero proof pairing.
Yeah, almost. Yeah.
That's how I almost took it.
Okay. I didn't think of it that way, but that would actually make sense.
Because
Yeah.
the first champagne.
Like, what direction do you want to head in?
Yes, because the first champagne or the first drink that Jill got was the exact same champagne.
Right.
And he just poured more in.
Okay.
And then you got a different, I think you got a, well, anyways.
What did you think of this drink?
Yes,
Then
it was
we'll go
amazing.
through. Yeah. It really was.
It
Notes
had
of
all
pear,
mm-hmm.
Other stuff. Like,
banana liqueur. Like,
oh, yeah.
Well, not liqueur,
no, but like a banana flavor to it.
Something.
Like,
It was so lavender. It was so good.
Here's the thing that I will tell you with everything we had. The complexity and levels of flavor are just like nothing I've experienced.
Mm-hmm.
And it's as though, and I'm sure they are, like, they're timed. Like, you know, like, you're supposed to taste what you're supposed to taste when you're supposed to taste it. And things just happen that you almost can't explain.
Yeah.
You know, like, I can't really explain this introductory beverage other than to say it had notes of pear and banana. But to somebody listening, they go, in lavender.
Smell,
yeah.
And
but then you smelled the rosemary because it had rosemary in it. So you first get a hit before you ever taste anything. You smell rosemary. But there was no visual rosemary in it, like a fresh rosemary sprig.
Yep.
So you don't even really know that's coming. And that's the first thing that hits you. Then you're going to get hit with like these notes of the pear. You know, and then later it's going to become like banana. Like, it's just so hard to explain.
Almond, like
yeah,
lemon. I mean, it was just
unbelievable.
It was so cool. It was so
so
cool.
good.
And this drink was fantastic. Jill loved it. We all loved it.
Yep. Yeah. So and that's the other thing. Like, as we go through these, I just there's so many of them that I wish I could now have again, like at home.
Oh my gosh, right.
And I don't know that I'll ever be able to.
Yeah.
You know, if anybody has some form of copycat recipes to Victoria and Albert's zero proof, they probably don't. Should have gotten Matt's number. See if you could have hooked a brother up. So we are going to start off.
Now we can start with
the food. And they're going to first bring you a trio of bites, of like one bites. They are served on this thick kind of charcoal colored disc. I guess you could say. As it is set down in front of you, it is set in a certain manner. So that as Miguel comes over to explain it to you, he's basically saying the one on the right, and we all have the same one on the right. You know what I mean? And then he can go around. After he explains each one to you, Jill even asked, do you recommend that we eat them in the order that you just explained them? He said, yes.
Yeah.
You know, so again, there's like a science to everything. Here's the part Rondo was saying earlier, the way that I felt, it kind of hit me today, is because I do watch a lot of cooking shows. Things like Guy's Grocery Game, Chopped, Cutthroat Kitchen, where you have judges. This felt like we were judges of a culinary competition.
Yeah.
Because we're all sitting, for the most part, on one side of a table. You know, Rhonda and I on one side, Jill on the end, and then you have the other two sides
Jill
completely open.
Head, 'cause she's her
birthday girl. They literally... Somebody else comes out and plates it in front of you. They always serve from the right side, I noticed.
Okay.
So, again, it just feels very, like, uniform, like a competition, as though this is being filmed. And then the chef stands in front of you with arms behind back. Like, I think that's just the way they know how to stand, I feel like. And they explain this dish to you while you are intently listening, making eye contact with each of us throughout.
Yeah. That's true.
Which is just, again, just amazing. They're not just staring off. They're not only talking to one person, like they are, you know, including everybody. And then as they walk away, I feel like we're supposed to take a bite and then be like, you know, oh, you just whatever, like judge it right in front of them.
And we kind of did.
We kind of do, because they'll come back and say, so what did you think of those 3 bites? Like, what was your favorite? So the 3 bites, we will start with the way that they explained them. The Loup de Mar, which is malt vinegar capers. And again, I'm going to read it as is, it is, and then we'll kind of explain it, I guess.
Okay.
Because, again, it's going to be hard. The next one is oxtail, Asian pear, and Guinness stout. And then the next bite is a jamon de bolota, huckleberry, and shallot. Talking about the first one, it is a purple potato tart.
Yes.
That took, like, what, 2 or 3 days to create,
and he
right?
was explaining, and it's like glass. So he also explained that it's one after he explained it's one bite, it is a little on the bigger side. He said, but I would try and be very careful because it's like glass. And I was very nervous to not just chomp down.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to cut myself or anything.
Boy, that'd be a way to start the meal.
Oh my gosh.
Slice your tongue wide open
Something,
on some potato glass. Yeah, there's this little, so it's this purple, almost, iridescent.
Clear,
tart.
almost, because you hold it, he told us to hold it up in the light.
You could see through it some. Then that's filled, it has this small piece of fish. It's got like some Japanese style noodles, some accoutrement on top, and basically said it's kind of their take on fish and chips in a way. You know, potato, fish. What did you think of this? So this is our very first bite, our very first taste ever of the chef's table at Victoria and Albert. Something that I know I've been dreaming about since we started this podcast. Certainly over the past year since we knew this opportunity was going to come about. How did you feel about your very first Viennese chef table bite?
It was the best thing I've ever eaten in my entire life.
Yes, you said it.
But
you're going to hear that a lot during this episode.
Yeah, you will.
A lot from me.
Yeah. But again, it truly is. I mean, and it should be for, sitting at the chef's table starting at $4.25. Absolutely should be. And it was.
Oh my goodness. It's light. It's refreshing. It is the most like delicate, buttery piece of fish that's inside of it that if you were just served this and you ate it and later somebody said, did you know there was fish in there? You'd be like, no, there wasn't. Yeah. You wouldn't even know. But if you know, you know. You know what I mean? It just, oh my gosh, the flavors. And it's just incredible. Then we get to this second one, right? This oxtail.
Yeah.
It is their take on a Guinness stew. And it's this tiny little bite. It honestly looks like...
You know,
it looks like a small plant you'd buy for like a little tiny model Barbie house, right?
Yes. I was going to say that. It looked like a little plant.
Yeah.
I was like, it's super cute. It's tiny. It's like maybe an inch tall.
Yeah.
It's so
got
tiny.
a bit of oxtail in there. It's got, again, I can't remember everything. It's got some flowers and pearls on top, like this stringy grass.
But it's not that. They explained it way more better.
Well, he's Miguel. Of course, he explained it better. What did you think of this?
This was my second favorite out of all three of them.
Yep. Why?
And the first one was not the fish.
Right. That was your third, but why?
That was my third.
Why? Like, what did you like about this?
I guess it's hard to explain, but I mean, I don't want to take this because you were like, we just discussed so many things, and
we've talked a lot about.
I know, and I don't want to take this and you be mad at me.
No, it's fine. We've had the discussions. We've talked a lot. We've had to prepare. I do, and we may do this for some future things. Like, I really wish we had just turned on microphones last night, from the drive home till we went to bed laughing, which took a long, long time.
Yes.
So,
we were very I was ready
hyped
to go
up.
home.
I was giddy.
Yep.
I was just like, I was beside myself.
Yeah. But this is like,
here's my comparison of it, okay? And I don't actually remember what I said, so take it. But my thought is this, I don't think I said this. This was like, they Willy Wonka'd this thing. This was like Willy Wonka, where he's like, here's a little piece of it's whatever you want it to taste like. You bite into this tiny little bite that looks like a dead houseplant in a Barbie model home, and you're like, that's Guinness stew.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, all of a sudden, I just took a bite of something that tastes like a fully prepared Guinness stew. I'm sitting down at an Irish pub in the most elegant manner.
Yep. It's like you said it best when you said when Egon is sitting in Ratatouille and he is taking the first bite and he is transported back to his childhood.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what these bites were.
Yeah.
I mean, this was not that my family did make Guinness stew, but it just tasted so good that I just felt like I was transported back to a childhood when my mom would make stew. And I was like,
right.
Wow, man, this is the best stew. This is the best oxtail I've ever had.
And again, they're doing this with a single bite of food.
Yes.
Moving on to the hamon, this had huckleberry. It had a goat cheese in the center, correct? I believe there was a goat. I thought it had a goat cheese or a feta in the center.
I don't remember.
It's almost in like this little puff pastry cup.
Mm-hmm. And I love how they sometimes compared it to, it's like their take on, he didn't say bacon and pancakes, but sweet and savory. Like
for me, I thought it was a take on a bocadillo.
Okay.
You know, because but a bocadillo usually has honey in it, so that would give you that sweet, that salty, that savory. And that was I thought this was like a one bite bocadillo, and I loved it. I mean,
this was our favorite.
Yeah, this was across the board, right?
Me, you, and Joe.
And it's Miguel's favorite too.
Yes.
He even said.
Yeah.
So we're starting off with these 3 bites, right? They come out, they take that away. Next up is Rhonda's favorite part, because they are going to bring out their second course, which is going to be the sushi. Now at this time, I get a 0 proof pairing.
Mm-hmm.
This to me, and every one that I get is in a different glass, first of all.
Yes,
and they're all gorgeous, and every drink is beautiful, and they're all like meant for this beverage and whatever. Mm-hmm. So this one to me tasted very much like a honey mead, if you've ever had that. And this is the one I believe that had the charred banana peel. Mm-hmm. So you got like honey, and you got a little bit of banana, and then it had like a thicker, almost syrupy viscosity to it.
Yeah.
But I thought it was delicious.
Yes,
it was sweet, and it paired really well with what we just had, and it actually would pair with what we're about to have. Mm-hmm. Did you like this drink? Because you were able to take a sip of each one.
Yeah, and I tasted every single one because I did not want. I just wanted to taste. I did not want it for myself because and I was telling Chill this, even weirdly when I just go out to regular dinner, I've always felt if I get like even a Coke or a Sprite or a sweet tea, it never does good for my stomach while I eat. Yeah. But like when I eat and I just drink water, I'm fine and everything's good. So I was like, please just keep me.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of beverages of different
water. Yep.
Yeah, varying everything.
Yep. And I was like, I will totally take a sip. So I sipped each and every one of Jeremy's, and they were all fantastic. And yes, this was very good. Yeah. I think I'll remember which one as we look through the pictures.
Like was your favorite
my
or whatever?
Favorite that I wish you could make at home, but
maybe I can.
We'll see. But
me and Matt. So we are going to move on to the Imperial Caluga, Mezcal, Avocado, Guy Lamondiere, Virtus Brut Zero, Cote de Blanc, and Habanada. This is the caviar portion. Mm-hmm. Joe comes out, and a lot of dishes come out in these big trays because sometimes they'll have a little extra preparation. Yes. This is one that has extra preparation. Yes. So he brings out, and he has these 3 bowls. In the bottom of them is basically like a crema, an avocado cream, which of course they left out for Jill, an oyster out of its shell, oyster, right? Yeah. Well, what? I didn't want people to think it's still in like the shell, like it's not it's not an oyster on the half shell,
right?
Right.
Because you can't eat the shell.
No.
And in these situations, they do not put something on the plate that cannot be eaten.
Oh yeah, you can eat everything, and correct. For the most part, you want to.
Correct. So go ahead.
So above that is this decorative disc it's like a cocoa disc, but it's like floral in its design, so you can see through it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like the gaps. And then there's a separate thing with caviar. Now, caviar, I believe it's pearl spoons that you eat caviar with. So we're each given a pearl spoon, and then we get another spoon as well next to that one, because the bottom is a little bit of more like a soupy type thing with the creams and the oyster. So he does that, and then he takes out this spritzer. He does each of the 3. And he takes out this spritzer and does a little like spritz, like you'd see like getting cologne at like JCPenney's or whatever when you're a kid, or going getting some Axe body spray. You know, it's like you like spray it in front of you, and then you do the little walk through. Yeah, you put your chest out and your arms aside. So that's what he did with these, and then they give them to each of us. Recommended that we try the caviar on its own first, as it sits on top of this cocoa disc. Yep. Rhonda Stein, your first ever time, as well as mine, having caviar. Mm-hmm. The place to do it is Victoria and Albert's Chef's Table. 100%. So you did it because you did not want to.
I was a little nervous.
How do you like the caviar by itself?
That's a big old nope.
Yeah,
That was a nope.
I
Nope,
agree.
Nope. I did not like it at all. It was yuck. It was salty. That is not me. That is not for me.
And they do have some. This is one where they do have some upgrades that you can pay extra for better caviar. I don't know. I wouldn't know a good caviar if it punched me in the junk. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I decided to just have some of the caviar as well. I was super excited to try caviar. It's just one of those things. I'm like, I can't think in my brain what this must be like because people rave over it that have it. So take a bite, and the first bite I actually really like.
Ew, really? You did?
It's odd because these are a little bit like tiny popping bobas of the fish kind. Once I bit into it, it was like swallowing the ocean. Like, not the good parts of it. Like, it is so salty.
It wasn't sandy,
and briny. Though. No, it could have been, and I don't know. It is so salty. It's so briny, and then the texture hits you, and it is tiny little popping fish eggs that taste like fish pee. I assume. I don't know what actual fish pee tastes like. People just assume that
if you have money,
like
you eat caviar?
No, people just assume that something like maybe fish urine tastes really good. Nobody would know. Has somebody been like, I should try that to see if it's good? So we want to compare something like that tastes like pee. Have you tasted pee?
No.
Because if you haven't, then you don't really know. What if it's good? Like Patch Adams from Dodgeball. Is it necessary to drink my own urine? No, but it's sterile, and I like the way that it tastes.
Oh my God.
So he did recommend then that you basically crack this little cocoa disc, let the caviar and the cracked cocoa disc fall into the creme, the avocado crema, and the oyster.
Yes.
I'll go first. Still disgusting. I did not care for this, and I really, really tried. When I had just oyster with the avocado crema and the crema, I did really enjoy it. Any part at that point that had even a little bit of caviar in it, my brain was like, no, I can't do this. The texture, the everything. Oh. This is the only dish I did not finish and want to lick the bowl. And again, not because I don't think it was prepared and good for people who like caviar.
Yeah.
We don't care for caviar, we learned.
Well, I didn't care for the caviar by itself, but
right.
Once I broke it and once I mixed it all together, I actually liked it a lot.
You did.
All the components together, it was fantastic.
You pretty much cleaned your bowl, didn't you?
Almost did, yeah. I think the caviar was broken up enough that it basically gave it just a salty taste.
Yeah.
Or, like somebody sprinkled salt on top instead of. But no, it was very, very good. I love that the avocado was in there, the crema, the oyster. I think it was very quick because I felt like I didn't get that much.
Yeah, it was a small one little oyster, but it was very, very delicious.
So
How do you feel, a little fishy swimming around in your stomach yet?
No.
That's what happens.
Don't do that.
Down there. Okay, let's move on to the next dish. This is hamachi, gooseberry and coriander. It has Nino Nigri, Cabrione, Valtellina, and La Vie en Rose. I'm butchering this menu, but I'm doing my best. If you would like a bonus treat,
oh my goodness.
This was recommended by our good friend Lucy. She wanted to hear Rhonda read the whole menu from beginning to end. So if you stick around after the closing outro and theme song, you will get a full reading of from Rhonda of this menu, and it is quite delightful.
In advance.
It is very good. So this is hamachi fish. Explain this flying saucer dish in front of us in the presentation of this bowl. I don't even know what to call it. I want to hear you explain this bowl.
It looks like a lifesaver. It looks like a lifesaver.
Oh my gosh, that's perfect. A giant lifesaver?
A giant
But
white...
not a hole in the middle, just a concave indentation in the middle.
The hole is the food.
Is the food, yeah.
Yeah.
This thing's like 3-4 inches tall.
Yes, it is.
As they're bringing you, you don't see the top that it's like a closed top, basically. I thought it was going to be a giant bowl and then have like a teeny little something inside the bowl.
Yeah.
But instead, it's basically like on top. This has these little tomatillos, sliced tomatillos, which Miguel told us taste like pineapple. Mm-hmm. Thought, okay. We've got some pieces of hamachi in there. Very nice, raw, tender fish. And then underneath do you remember everything exactly underneath with that sauce that was in it?
No.
Because I think that had a little bit of the chili oil.
I don't know.
What did you think of this dish?
Fantastic.
Holy smokes.
This is
This
the best fish I've ever
had. This is the best sushi fish I've ever had.
Oh, yeah. Now, you have said, now I can say this. You did say that we've had this
We've
fish
had it at Tanks.
At Tanks.
Yeah.
This preparation and this sushi fish, I can say, is the best fish I've ever had in my entire life.
That's so good.
They did say, Miguel did say at the very beginning, each day and night, a person of the person that they are, whatever they're called.
The
like
fishmonger?
The beef. I just started to say,
yeah.
the beef man.
The beef man.
The fish man.
You got the beef man, you have a fish man, you have a pork man. There's a lamb man. That could be a woman. It could be a beef woman.
Okay, persons.
Yeah. Individuals.
All these individuals.
There's a beef specific individual. There's a fish specific. Yeah.
And they only take, if there's 50 reservations for the entire course of the evening, they take 51 beef things.
Yeah. Yep.
They take 51, so they do leave a margin for error.
When he
but
said
that's only one.
That's what I was thinking.
I was like, holy moly.
He said to leave a margin of error, and I was like, your margin of error is one?
Yeah.
On this food? Like, you're not slinging hot dogs. You know, hot dogs, your margin of error is one because you accidentally drop one on the ground. And let's be honest, you could probably pick it up, put it in the bun, and nobody's going to notice. Your margin of error on 50 perfectly crafted Michelin-starred dishes is one. And I'm willing to bet they often don't need that one.
Yeah. 100%.
Wow. I'm so glad you picked up on that too. Because when he said that, I was like, one.
Yeah. I was like, okay.
So
this fresh fish was cut off that morning.
Yeah.
And this is what they will use.
It was probably swimming the night before or something. And
probably was.
And I did
was
watch
so
in the
good.
seafood station, the guy who was plating, the chef that was plating these, and he would pull out this big platter of the hamachi, and he would take tweezers and he would individually grab each piece to like ribbon it in a certain way for the presentation. And then there's 3 small slices, going around. And this is the other thing that I think is so cool. I know Jill took pictures of all her dishes. We should compare
she did.
them. If all 3 of us all took pictures of each of our dish, they'd almost be indistinguishable. You know what I mean? Like, they would all look almost exact same. Even from the way they lay them down, as we said earlier, like I bet the way they lay them down is facing a certain way.
Yeah, probably.
These little tomatillos tasted exactly like pineapple.
Yeah, it was really good.
It was so strange.
It was.
But
he said it's a tomato, but it's in the pineapple family.
Right. And it tastes like a pineapple. You tricky little tomatillo. All right. Next, we are going to move on to my next zero proof beverage.
This was really cool.
How much do you remember
this?
about? I don't remember enough past the green
really cool.
tea and the foam. I think you remember more about this one than I do. I was probably lost in Matt's eyes.
Crap. Now you messed me up. I don't remember.
Okay, green tea foam.
Yeah.
And it's layered that way. So the bottom half was, oh man, it was berry flavors in it, and it's like a strawberry looking color. On top of that is a green foam, and then it has edible like leaf basically to give it a little bit of crunch into the drink. Yeah. On top.
And I don't remember. He had a story, I feel like, with it, and now
it was so good.
Can't remember, but it was good. I tasted this one. This is, this was not my favorite, but it was very good.
I loved it. I really did. It wasn't my favorite either. It was actually probably my least favorite, and I still loved it.
Yeah.
So that'll tell you how good all this stuff was.
Right.
All right, next we're going to move on to the Glacier 51 Toothfish. Spanish Carabinero, Calabrian chili, This has Bodegas La Caña, Navia, Rios Baxas, Cayoto. In layman's terms, this is a piece of seared fish. And then you have basically the way they explained it was their take on a shrimp toast.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start. I don't know how to explain the shrimp toast thing.
I don't either because it was like toast, but sweet and
shrimpy.
But really good. I don't know.
If you've had shrimp toast, again, it's an elevated shrimp toast. It's like all those same flavors, but it's so good. And then it's sitting in this Calabrian chili oil, and it's got little edible flowers on top. Like I really like this little thing. What to call it?
I know, and it was a little spongy, super cool, like that. And then the fish,
like the best fish I've ever had.
It's the best fish we've ever had. It's white, flaky, and just like your fork, it just like kind of melts apart,
and that sear on top, it gives it this slight crunch.
There
was
something
going
else
through
on top of it too,
as we continue, you're going to hear the words buttery a lot because this was so buttery. It's like so tender, it falls apart.
So is this the one where he was talking about that and the fat? Was this the one we were talking about the fat and
No, that's the duck. That's going to get, I think the one you're thinking of is when we get to the duck dish.
No, but the butter, there was a sauce that he was talking about, the sauce and the butter and the fat of the butter and how high it was that it's then, I don't know, but do you remember?
I do remember that vaguely now, yeah.
Because my whole point is my brain started, here again, we're fancy. And you also, by the way, I don't think we said this. If you did need to use the restroom during this 4 hours, you had to be escorted.
Yes.
Fairness,
this is because you have to go through the kitchen,
correct.
And it's 100% safety reasons. But
Correct.
They will escort you all the way to the bathroom, and they'll leave you be.
Yes.
Don't worry. And there's nobody. I was actually shocked there's nobody in there like handing you towels or like giving you spritzes with cologne or putting soap in your hand that you would have to tip because I didn't have any money like cash in my pockets because my pants are so tight they couldn't fit cash in my pockets. So I'm just glad my suit fit. This is the other suit I have, and I was able to get it buttoned and not split anything open. But yeah, but that is the reason they got it. It makes sense.
Yes.
But again, it's not like they're waiting for you out there. Like once you walk out, again, the guy says like, "Mr. and Mrs. Stein, I'll escort you back to your table."
Mm-hmm.
I just met you. How do you know who we are? You know what I mean? It's just.
Yeah, but my brain was very kind of nervous. And if you've listened before, when we had the most, in my opinion, probably the fanciest meal before this was Cinderella's Royal Table.
Definitely.
When we were on the dining plan and we each got an individual 3-course meal, which was appetizer, entree, and dessert.
Yeah.
And that was back when Jeremy and I were trying to eat better and we were sharing, and it was so good that I got that then my stomach was like not used to this. And I don't know if it wasn't just as good. And I say as good, like I don't know, but I was at the bathroom. And so I was a little nervous about tonight.
About this fish specifically,
yes. Well,
too? Like
just
the
buttery, whole thing.
Oh, because of the
all
buttery,
of
the richness, the amount of food.
All of
yeah.
it. And this is where I will say, even though we have quite a few more courses to go through, from this point, like everything was like, even though it was buttery and amazing tasting, it was clean.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything was so clean, and I didn't feel like greasy and gross and disgusting, and so
yeah. Yeah,
This
no,
was
I do agree.
amazing.
It's one of those things, and then something else. And as we try to work our way through the menu and not go on too many like tangents and all, this is a lot of food. Even though each dish is small, each dish is usually 1, 2, 3, 4 bites, give or take in a sense.
And they get bigger. They start getting bigger,
and then ramps back down at the end.
Yes.
But again, this is almost a 4-hour experience.
Yes.
There wasn't ever a time for me personally that they set something in front of me and I thought, oh God, already like there's enough time in between
Thank God.
for you to relax, for you to digest, for you like to wait for the next. So I love that part. Yeah, this fish, I think I said it to you guys. I think I even said it to Matt. I said if every fish that I would eat was done this way, like I would eat fish for every meal. I'd be like, breakfast, fish and eggs. Let's go. I don't even care. This is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It is one of those times you go, you don't like fish? Try this.
Yeah.
Let's see if you still don't
this
like
was
fish.
probably, I wonder if, and it might not be this fish, but Jill was telling me a story that when she took her son, he said he didn't like fish. And she goes, and the chef was like, try this.
Yeah.
And he did and was like, yeah. So.
And, I've talked a lot about cobia, which I think is just the most incredible fish. This toothfish. Oh, sorry, cobia. You're second fiddle now. I mean, but to me, this was if I thought ahead of time, I hope Victorian Albert has cobia because I know it's a hard fish to come by usually. They're basically like, we kind of do, but we have something that's even better than cobia. And then they give you this. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you're kind of like, cobia who? Like, again, it's going to be that meme,
Right.
Like the cobia is walking past. I'm the girl. I'm turning and looking at the toothfish. And the cobia is like, dude, what's up? Okay, let's move on to the next zero proof beverage. Now, this was, first of all, it's beautiful. Served in this 2-layered glass. How would you explain a glass like that?
And it looked
like
a
a glass
candy
within
cane,
a glass, right?
actually.
Yeah. And it's got this pinkish red swirl all the way around it. In the bottom is a tiny scoop of raspberry sorbet. And then he pours this soda water into it and gives you a spoon and everything fizzles and it becomes this like, again, it's almost like the sherbet punches you'd go to that was at every party we'd go to growing up. Like, I feel like, just Victorian Albert style.
Yeah. Elevated so much. Because the
soda
soda water
was
wasn't even completely soda water. I think it was like a lavender soda water or something.
Soda water.
It was so good.
Oh my gosh. Did you like this
was
one?
Really good. Yeah. Because he was like, you can eat it with the spoon because the spoon came in it, or you could not. And I tasted it and ate a little bit. And this was really good. I would have really liked this one.
Yeah.
It was one of my favorites.
I didn't know what to do with the spoon when I drank it because I didn't want to set the spoon anywhere because it's got raspberry sorbet on it. I didn't want to set it on the table, which is a gorgeous marble top. I didn't want to set it on my bread plate that was going to come next. We're going to talk about the first bread course. Because it just didn't look right. That was the one time that I did feel like this is too fancy for me. What do I do with this spoon? So instead, I just tried to drink it while the spoon just pretty much like almost hit you in the eye. But it's a long spoon, so it went more on the side of my head like your glasses would. You know what I mean? But I really did enjoy this. So let's talk about the first bread dish, which is a house-made focaccia. It has some herbs and some stuff on it, and it is served with a ricotta-style cheese that is not ricotta, but I don't know that either one of us can remember the name of it.
I cannot.
And the bread courses are not on the printed menu.
Correct.
But it was a cheese similar to ricotta
with
with a bunch of olive oil in it.
And I think there was there a little balsamic in it too?
No, there was not balsamic. It was just olive oil. I do have the photo. Yeah, so we can kind of look at the photo.
There is balsamic in it.
And also there's some balsamic right there under the cheese portion. Hidden slightly by it, but there it is. It does have balsamic on it.
Yeah, this was fantastic. Very, very good. But I think this is the point where Matt might have accidentally said how many courses were left. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And I was like, are you serious? And he kind of chuckled and was like, yes. And I'm like,
dude, we only started on the fish.
God. So then he tells me that I would not, if you are nervous, don't eat your bread. And I was like, okay. Even though the bread was...
At that point, I'm next to you, like picking up the last... I'd already eaten my whole loaf.
I know.
I'm over there like picking crumbs off the table. Like, what was that about the bread? You said don't eat it all? Oh, no. Like, I wanted to ask for more. I'm sorry, guys. This is the best bread I've ever had in my entire life. This stuff was life-changing.
Okay,
It is
it was
light.
not
It
that.
is airy. Like, it's the cotton candy texture of bread world. I don't even know how to explain it. Holy moly. And the flavor that it packed blew my mind. I really liked the ricotta-style cheese stuff, but I actually liked the bread better without it. The bread on its own, I would eat yours that you left. Like... Holy moly.
Well, it was really good. It did taste very fresh. Like it was made obviously that morning, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
But I was like, and it was good enough that I was like, all right, Rhonda, I ate half of it because the cheese was really good and I really enjoyed it. But I was like, all right, stop, because I do want to be able to eat everything else and I don't want to get full.
Yeah. I wish that upon exiting, they were selling this bread in packages because I would buy it.
Okay.
And then you could
Probably
only
could
get
have
it
asked
here.
more.
You probably could have, but again, I didn't. And I probably didn't need it, but
No.
it'd be amazing if you could only buy it after dining at Victoria and Albert's. You know, you can't get it anywhere else. And then maybe it's in like a specialty, like the Cake Bake Shop had their little gift bag. Like imagine them just walking around Grand Flow after with the bread in a suit, and you're all glitzed up. You look freaking stunning, like you're hosting the Oscars, and we're just, well, you ever have V&A bread? No, I got V&A bread. You want some? Just selling it $10 a slice
No, you
out
wouldn't
there.
do that.
Oh my gosh, I loved it. Like I will say
It was
the only downside of this entire experience is that it could ruin other foods for you. Like I'll never
we'll
look
get
at
to
it.
that.
I'll
Go
never
ahead.
look at another focaccia the same. Let's move on to the one I think I was most excited for when it was placed in front of me. I didn't say a word out loud. I don't think you realized what it was because you kind of looked at me once he said, this is the Diver Scallop, Heirloom Apple, Iberico Lardo. Dr. Lucien Orzinger Wutzgarden was the wine, I believe, that paired with it, which is a Riesling.
Yes, it was. And it was like a dry Riesling.
Yeah, so this
Said it was good.
This is a beautiful, like inch thick, huge Diver Scallop. There is a plate with a bowl on top. They call them chargers, right?
I don't know.
I think that's the plate you don't eat on.
Look
which
at
I
you.
never understood. When there was
Get you fancy pants.
riddle me this as well. When we sat down, there was a plate in front of us. That plate never got a single use out of it, and before our first meal was served, Matt just took them from us. Why is that plate there? Because it was kind of like a charger. Like you would sit down in a meal. The charger's the thing you set your plate on.
Maybe
But that wasn't what this situation was. It was just like, here's a beautiful plate. Psych.
because that was a place setting. That's where
to
you were
show
supposed to
where the
sit.
people would sit.
Right.
I guess that makes sense.
And then because they were all these different plates, they took it
Are
away.
so people, if you go to some people's houses that are like, they're super fancy, right? Like they're Southern living style, and they have like a nice dining room, and it always has a set
Yeah.
right there. So are they not eating on those?
No. They take
They're
them
just
away.
there
Yeah.
just for show?
Yeah. And then a lot of times you take them away.
You know what you're eating on a
And then-
styrofoam hefty plate? Why aren't you eating on the good stuff? Is
No,
that not the good stuff?
Sometimes it's not. Sometimes they'll take, that's the show. So you don't eat on the show. You eat on what you can eat and wash and everything. So, yes. So then, like,
Does the
if
chair,
it's the china-
does the chair not alert people that is a place that you could sit down to eat?
I don't know. Because did you notice around this table, there was these like ottoman almost
Yeah, they're almost
things
like little circular
where I was
ottomans.
like, are they seats?
No.
And then I just put my phone next to it because
Yeah.
I didn't have a purse.
I think that was more of its use because there wasn't really a thing,
So I
a
took-
place to like set
Yeah,
your
'cause-
stuff, I guess.
Jill had her purse on the table, which I'm like, she's not going to need her purse, but she was keeping her phone out
Yeah.
because she was sending her son pictures
Mm-hmm.
and taking pictures of everything, which she said, take
Yeah,
pictures.
they said take pictures,
video, whatever you want,
Yeah.
which I thought was amazing as well.
Missed out on a few.
So I took her purse off the table and put next to my phone on this little ottoman. But that's where I was like, is somebody else going to be eating with us? I was a little confused.
Somebody else just said, what if Josh Diamaro walked in and sat down next
You know, it's so funny because I did see some people walk through the kitchen, and I was like thinking, what if he walked and then said, hey, thanks for being here? I was like, Jeremy might just poop his pants. I mean, you were sitting at Victoria and Albert.
There's enough room in the pants for that.
But I mean, here you were sitting, and I was just thinking, like, and I might have even said a little prayer, like, Lord, that'd just be amazing. Yeah. Could you make that happen?
And I will say, and we'll talk about food again at some point. Like, Rhonda and I both did use the bathroom. We went at the same time, and again, somebody escorted us out. By that time, the dining room is full of people, of course.
Yes, it was.
And they've got the harpist playing, which, by the way, they are lightly kind of pumping. You're hearing sounds from the kitchen, but not really. And they're lightly pumping some of that harp music in. And they were doing Christmas right now, so harpist and all that. But when you come walking out of that kitchen as guests, like, heads turn. Like, it's just neat. You know, just for two regular Joes. You know what I mean? Like,
I didn't know we were regular Joes. Yeah. They were probably like,
Like they might think we're somebody, and we're not. We're just two regular people. But when you walk, it's neat. You know, it's a neat feeling. It's not something I'd want all the time, but it's all of a sudden it's neat to feel special.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. If we were in the Victoria's room, or if we were in
if I was in the dining room and I saw people coming out, I'd be turning heads.
And
like, who are these people?
Exactly. So
where did that guy get that suit? Because it is stunning on him. And that baby blue vest and tie. That was the only thing also I did not care for is your dress for me to match it. I pretty much had to wear Carolina blue vest and tie. Not a big fan of that color.
Sorry.
Did you like the diver scallop? I think is where we were at.
Yes.
We were painting the picture, the bowl, scallop in the middle. This is one of the ones that they prepare part of it in front of you because they poured the little sauce with the heirloom apple chunks in it over the scallop and into the bowl. So you went for your bite. I just waited. I did video you.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
So I've never really liked scallops. And I was like, you know what?
Tried many of them.
I have.
Much respect to you.
Yeah,
I
I've tried them, and I'm like,
saying,
I don't like it.
Rhonda, try this scallop. I think you'll like it. And you keep going, I don't. But you try it.
And I try it, and I'm like, I don't like it.
It's the best scallop you've ever had.
This is the best scallop I've ever had. I mean, this didn't taste like a scallop. This wasn't chewy. This was literally like melt in your mouth. It just melted in your mouth.
It tasted exactly like a scallop.
Okay, well then, it tasted like seafood.
Maybe the overall not only was the scallop just perfect, but maybe all the accompaniment with it also was just the right.
Maybe
because again, they know every flavor in the way it works with other flavors.
Yeah.
I mean, going from that fish to this, like each dish kept getting better than the one before it. Because when I ate that fish, I honestly thought, how are you going to top this fish? And I'm not a fish guy. How are you going to top this fish?
And they kept
I know that you're going to bring stuff. I'm sure there's going to be a beef dish. Like there's going to be. I'm like, there's probably going to be a duck dish, right? Like that sounds sense. Well, I don't know what else we might get. A lamb, a bison, maybe there is like a
So
chicken,
you were already thinking that? I still had no idea. And I wasn't
only
even thinking.
Slightly, because in my brain, I'm thinking, how are things that I know I love that have to be coming going to beat this fish? And then they put the scallop in front of me, and I tried that. And it's even butterier. Oh, my goodness. It's butterier. Is that a word?
I don't know.
Oh, it is the best scallop I've ever had. And I know I say these things a lot. I really do believe that almost every item on this menu, whatever the main component was, is potentially the best of that dish I have personally ever had.
And I mean, I think every single person listening would think they better be saying this because
you would think,
of the price you're paying.
Of course.
And yes, absolutely it should be.
Of course.
And it is. So.
But there's so much of that too, though, is perception of the person. But also, I think the level they've built it up in their head. You know, I can say it again. Go back to our first time at California Grill. I built that up so much in my head. if it had let me down, it probably wasn't because of California Grill. It probably would have been on me.
Okay.
Now, it didn't. It lived up to the hype. But you know what? Does that make sense? Whereas if I went in to California Grill just going, I don't really know much about this place. I don't know what to expect. And then going, wow, this blew my mind. Like, that person thinks it's so much better than the person who expects a lot. So I do think there's a lot of that. I do agree. These probably should be the best bites that most people have ever had, especially to normal Joes like us who don't eat at these types of places, really.
Yeah.
I could not get over this dish until we got to the next one. Before we get to that, I'm going to talk about the next zero proof beverage.
Mm-hmm.
You ready?
Oh,
I actually am going to try to talk about it. This is going to be weird because I'm going to get very emotional.
Really?
Yeah. When we talk about this in the next dish. So it is a Manhattan. It is zero proof. And what is amazing, and again, I can't remember all the details, but it is crafted to taste like a Manhattan without being a Manhattan. Like, and it's not like they're, I've talked about the zero proof spirits like Ritual and the Fruit Spirit brand and stuff. It's not like they're just doing that, They are really crafting this from scratch and finding ways to find the same profiles, notes, and flavors of an actual Manhattan to make it for you. This is the most alcoholic tasting non-alcoholic beverage I've ever had. Mm-hmm. It completely fooled my brain into thinking I'm drinking a Manhattan. Like, it's one of those you take a sip and you almost want to be like, Matt, this is zero proof, correct? Like, are you positive?
You're like, I've not gone this long.
It is that good.
That's awesome.
Now, this has a bit stronger notes of cherry because there's an Luxardo cherry in it. It's just, oh my goodness.
Well, and they
I
use
loved
Luxardo cherry juice.
Yes.
And that's what they said too. So. Yes.
So what this is pairing with is their Rohan duck, which comes with daikon and a Grand Marnier. Again, it has it here paired with the Manhattan. Do you want to talk about the duck dish? Because this also comes with a duck confit croquette.
Yes.
That is served separate on its own little pedestal.
Mm-hmm.
And most of these, it's so cool. Like, it really is the stuff you see on, like, the Food Network, like these big, beautiful plates and these tiny little presentations.
Yes.
But they're stunning.
Yeah.
And the negative space of the plate and the way that it literally draws your eyes to the food, it freaking works. Like, if this was on a plate the size of the dish, it just would not look nearly as elegant.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So they had, this is with also the sticky rice on the side, basically.
Yeah.
And then was that a radish on top?
That's the daikon radish.
Okay.
Yes, that's the daikon. So it's a small little piece of like sticky sushi rice that is then seared, so it has a little crisp crust on top, and then layered on that is the most thinly sliced.
Looks like ginger.
Yeah, it does actually look like ginger. Daikon radish. I mean, it's so thin, like you can almost see through it, right?
Yeah, and then Miguel, of course, said like, sometimes he would say like, so this is like an Asian flair or twist or whatever. Yep. So
we can see the duck dry aging. There's a specific refrigerator in our view in the kitchen of the duck dry aging for this dish.
For 4 days?
Yeah, I don't even remember the days, but I know it's kept obviously at a specific temperature. It's like it sucks all the moisture and everything out of that system. And then I watched the chef in the meat section prepare the duck and slice it for other presentations to go out to the main dining hall. But two thin pieces of duck breast, right?
Yes, and since we're getting into meats now, let me go back and say that in the beginning, also when he said everything is going to come out, he said the meat. I remember how he approached it, but basically said is medium. Or no,
everything will be served medium rare.
Yeah, is medium rare okay?
Tell them otherwise.
Yes. And thank God we all said yes.
Yeah. And these are the instances that if you are okay with it, because I know some people in layers of rawness or not, what I mean, like levels of doneness, I guess I should say. Again, this is one of those places to trust the chef. We have gone places before where we've gotten something maybe like a lamb or a pork, which we might prepare differently at home. And they will say, how would you like that prepared? And I'll literally say, whatever the chef recommends. And they might say, a medium rare. And I go, okay, good. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
Because you want to trust them. They know a little bit more about this than you do.
Yeah. So with that being said, duck comes out medium rare. again, like Jeremy said, it's beautiful. So we all had butter knives next to us every time. And every time they'd bring out a dish, they would bring forks and knives or spoons or
half
whatever.
the time stuff that didn't even get used.
Yeah, it was hysterical.
And then it got to a point with all the meat dishes where the knives and forks had knife and fork holders.
Yes.
And Matt was telling us how they often will use those for other things, or like they once had a certain reason, like for chopsticks, just say. They no longer maybe serve that dish. Instead of getting rid of them, they now repurpose them, just say, for, the fork and knife. Some of the silverware was absolutely stunning. Do you want to just talk about the silverware real quick?
Yeah, because I asked if you could buy it.
Yeah, it's like, what would you call that?
Victorian.
Yeah, but like the color, what is that considered?
Oh, I think because he said, I can't remember if he said sterling, because then you don't have to, or
these are titanium.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said they're made of titanium.
So that's
right. Yeah, because they were finding with the sterling silver, they had to constantly clean it. And has this Victorian light print on it, but it's like almost a black titanium with like an extremely dark gray print. So there's not a huge contrast. So you really kind of almost have to look at it, but it's so intricate in details.
Yeah, it's very beautiful. I might look at.
Yeah. So what is so special about these? Absolutely nothing. They sell them on Amazon.
You can buy them on Amazon.
That was the funniest thing. I was expecting like this long story about how they're specifically made for Victorian
I asked
Albert.
if they were made for it, and he said,
no, you can get them on
Amazon.
Amazon.
You can get them on Amazon.
That was so funny.
And I'm thinking, oh, okay.
So we got this croquette thing as well, which is made with duck confit, which I think was, he was talking again about that whole process.
Yeah.
And it's in this light like pastry with sesame seeds. Let's start, I guess, with the main dish, the 2 pieces of duck.
Well, that's where I was going, because I was going to say I actually had to pick up my butter knife and cut through it. Like I don't know if I just wasn't strong enough for my fork. But I did pick up my butter knife and have to just gently go through it to cut a piece off. And then, I mean, it's the best duck I've ever had.
I know.
It's just so good. It was so tender. This isn't melt in your mouth, which is great.
Yeah, you're right. I mean,
it's not chewy, of course.
No.
It's just a daggum good duck. Yeah. And I even had duck, and I can say it's the best duck because I even had duck at Morimoto.
Yes. Yep.
And I would say that this is better.
I've had it at Cinderella Royal Table. I've had it now here. I've had it at Morimoto. I've had it, I'm trying to think, but several places. It's got that perfect crispy skin on the outside, the tender duck on the inside. Again, it's one of those places, if you've never had duck, this is the time to try it. If you had to explain the flavor of duck to someone that hasn't had it.
Like chicken, but...
And beef mixed, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like a beefy chicken.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like it meets in between.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, delicious. And then the sticky rice and the crust was and those daikon radishes, those were almost like melt in your mouth.
And it was neat because you would want to taste stuff separately each and then take a whole bite together. And it just... all of it together was fantastic, and all of it by itself was good.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And that's the other thing with all these dishes, right? That you're saying is like everything tastes really good by itself. And we'll get into a couple of them. Then you start to mix some flavors, and it's just like, wow.
Yep.
So let's move on to the duck croquette thing with the duck confit inside. Because somehow it was better than I think the plated duck dish that we just talked about.
I think I agree with you. This is like a sweet and savory.
I don't know how to explain it.
I don't either.
A little bit of Asian flair, but then this most amazing, like...
almost like a donut without the cinnamon sugar.
Without the sweetness of a donut. The sweetness of a donut dough, but without anything extra added to it, almost. You know what I mean? Light, airy, fluff, just, oh my goodness. And the flavor. Like, and what I loved about this is it was hard. You didn't really get a bite without the duck confit. Like a lot of times something like this, you take a bite and it's just the outer.
Yeah.
You take another, you know what I mean? Like there's just a little teeny piece of duck in the middle. This was full, like the flavor that is shot out of this thing was just amazing. So.
And shot out by it wasn't loose. It was
No.
Okay.
I meant shot like it was just
Okay.
don't pay
It's
attention
not
to
like
that one.
okay. I'm like it's not like liquid or
But
like
as I sat here, and Rhonda can tell you now. So I will say over the past 2 weeks or so, I've been very happy and good. Like I don't know if you've seen a little bit of a shift. I think the combination of us doing the Journey episode and me just kind of letting it all out at the end of the second one, there's something else occurred that lifted a huge weight off my shoulders. We were coming here to do like Victoria and Albert's. So I've been feeling really good past couple weeks,
Yes,
all since that. And, but I still, kind of have good days and bad days. I can't really explain it. It's just my mind. Some days I wake up and I'm like, this is going to be a good day. Some days I wake up and I'm like, this doesn't feel like a good day. This feels like a bad day. And I was having that Saturday morning.
yeah, you were. You concerned me. I tend to not get excited anymore about things until I wake up Saturday morning and I feel good.
Yeah. Like it's happening now.
It's
right?
happening
Yeah.
now. I had a sick, quote unquote, kid come in before Thanksgiving, and I was like, "Are you freaking?" I was like, "Are you sick?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I was like, I'm gonna kill somebody because like ever since COVID, people have usually been better about that. But anyways, moving on. My whole point is I usually try not to get excited because you just never know what's gonna happen.
Oh, I know.
With all that being said, I was excited. I was ready Saturday morning, and Jeremy was not, and I was concerned because I'm like, do you feel okay? Like, is your stomach, is your foot, are you okay?
Yeah, because my psoriatic arthritis did start creeping up, I think, a couple days ago. And so every morning I woke up like, don't let this be the morning I wake up and I can't stand.
Right.
And so I did have some concern over that, but
Yeah.
that was not, that wasn't what was driving my moodiness on Saturday.
Okay.
But as we sat here and I ate this duck and what was it? Oh, the Manhattan. I had the Manhattan and I took a moment. You and Jill were talking and I just took a moment and I like took a deep breath and I stared into the kitchen. And it was probably the happiest I've been in 266 days.
Oh, honey.
Like it was like it was one of those times where all of a sudden like you're just thankful. Like I looked around, I was like, holy crap, we're here. And like it was perfect. And the whole meal, this is another reason that this experience is just unbelievable. Like I only picked up my phone to take photos.
Yes.
I knew I was getting text messages. I knew our kids were going places. Like my watch is dinging and all, but I didn't look at it. I knew that if there was any sort of emergency, Rhonda was going to take care of it.
Yep.
The only reason I
word.
picked up a phone was to take a photo of the food, and then I put it back down, and I put it down face down.
Yeah, you
and
did.
even when I did that, I wasn't trying to look at my phone. I just would pick it up as Miguel was explaining a dish, or Sean when he started coming out to explain stuff. And I would just get the camera ready. I'd take a photo. I'd put it back. That was it. And I forgot for these 4 hours that anything else existed. Like everything was gone.
Oh,
It was just amazing. But that specific moment, I took this deep breath and I could feel myself starting to well up and tear up. And I was like, okay, and so I kind of I stopped and I just took myself out of that and I started listening into whatever you guys were talking about. But it was just that moment. And it was part of that. It was part of that drink. It was part of just being like, this felt like normal again, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just, it was the best. And like, that was my favorite moment of the whole night.
Well, you could have fooled yourself because you were like a kid in a candy shop. I loved watching you. I think Jill loved watching both of us.
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And I like loved watching her and you enjoy dishes. Like just everything about it just brought so much joy.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like I woke up this morning just with a smile on my face. Like, I can't wait to sit down and talk about this and record about this because nobody else will listen. So, and hopefully you guys will and are. I came home and started showing Kaylin photos and sweet thing. I'm showing her photos. I'm telling her what stuff is. She's like, oh, she doesn't give a flip. She didn't care.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I know you don't care, but I'm just going to show you these anyway. She's like, oh, okay. Just as sweet as can be, but she didn't care. I was just so excited to sit down and talk about this experience. Okay, let's move on to the next zero proof beverage. I am
This was
drawing
like
a blank on
apple
this one.
brandy.
Okay, yes.
I feel like.
Yes, it was.
It was
sure
a cute
was.
little glass. I think this reminded us like it could be warm. Like, right?
No. You're thinking of the ciderish one that's coming up. But
Okay,
I do
well,
think this one was more of like a brandy style. Because this would come with the next bread dish, which was that epi, basically. Baguette epi that they're serving like with the ricotta over at Topolino's Terrace.
Except for this one, they literally made it the time it took to bake before they brought it straight to us because it was warm.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And it was like they just made it.
Yeah,
like it was.
It
amazing.
did. It was
amazing.
so good.
But it was just bread, so I didn't eat it. I took one bite because of the salted butter that they brought.
Yep.
And I'm like, look, Matt, I'm not eating the bread.
And again, I was still over there like picking crumbs up off the table because I had already devoured all of
You actually
mine.
ate the rest of mine.
I did.
Gave you permission to eat my bread.
And I appreciate that very much. That's true love. Let's move on to the Colorado lamb, mandarin, and sweet potato. This is lamb prepared two ways, basically. One of them is a like lamb loin, seared on the outside, is served medium rare. The other is basically it's pork belly, but made with lamb. It's basically like a lamb bacon, right? Then you've got this little mandarin orange, which you would think, okay, it's a mandarin orange.
But
it's the best mandarin orange you'll ever eat.
But there was something like with it.
Yeah, a little like mandarin orange sauce underneath it.
Something.
Then you had this sweet potato puree. And then next to that was like this little almost like chutney. Like it kind of felt like maybe like a tamarind chutney or something.
That's the only thing I didn't love.
Out of this plate? Okay, let's start with the lamb, like the loin.
Oh my gosh. It was amazing. Again, I think at this point they might have given a not a butter knife, but I think I still could use the butter knife. I'm trying to remember.
I didn't
if
have to use
we
one.
had
I could use my fork.
It was so good. It was just so tender.
Yeah. The sear on the outside had so much flavor. It was a nice like crunch and crust. And then, this is one of those when we talk about it. This had fat on it.
But it was creamy
it was
and
truly
amazing.
It melted in your mouth fat,
Yeah.
not like, last episode Chef de France steak fat.
Yeah.
This lamb fat was just absolutely perfect. It melted. You wanted to eat it.
Yeah.
It was
You
so
wanted to
good.
eat everything. And I did.
And when you combine that with that sweet potato puree, mousse, whatever it is, holy moly.
Yes,
It really, those flavors work together.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And again, everything on its own was good. But when you put it together, it was fantastic.
Yeah. What do you think of the lamb bacon, I guess we'll call it?
It was great. It tasted like pork, which was really weird.
It tasted like pork belly, but with those
Yep.
lamb notes, right?
Yeah. It was real good.
It was like, again, I think it's one of those, if somebody served it to you without telling you what it was, you would be like, this is incredible pork belly, but there's something different about it I can't put my finger on.
Yeah.
And somebody say, it's lamb. You'd be like, what? I loved this entire dish, the way that it was composed. I thought was perfect. I actually liked the chutney part.
Did you?
But I do agree. I think it was the weakest part of the plate.
Yeah.
Like if it wasn't on there, I don't think it would be missed. Next, for the zero proof pairing, it was basically their version of a red wine, but again, without going through those steps of making just say a red wine and the fermentation and, maybe having to pull out the alcohol or whatever it may be. It was all done with fruit juices and, whatever they could combine. And it tasted just like a really good, sweet red wine. Didn't you think?
Yes, I did. It was very good because it was a sweeter one. It wasn't.
Yeah. And they were pairing this, of course, with our beef dish.
Yes. And of course, when he explains this one, basically it was like your take on I think he was like steak and potatoes.
Yeah, meat and potatoes.
Meat and potatoes, yep.
Yeah, this is Miyazaki A5 Wagyu beef, nasturtium and applewood bacon. This was actually paired with a no-name wine, and there's a
Yeah.
whole story about the no-name wine from Matt that Jill was having about basically. We got in this whole discussion about the different regions, or he was telling us about the different regions, the way wine's produced. Of course, like with champagne, that has to be made in the region of Champagne. Otherwise, it's sparkling wine.
Right.
Well, that's the same thing with, I think, with like Bordeaux and all these different wines. They have to be made in a certain thing. They have to have certain like elements, I think he was saying. There was something about this that didn't reach it where like they couldn't call it a Bordeaux, but it was missing like one tiny little thing to make it a Bordeaux. So they ended up just calling it no name, or it was something along those lines, but he had this entire backstory
Yeah, it was really cool.
about the wine.
I think you're pretty much nailing it. So.
Yeah. And then even cooler, because Jill was telling her son about this stuff. She was just saying like, can I get like a picture of the wine list? And Matt goes and brings out every bottle of wine, positions them in front of her from the order she's going to have them in like a little half circle to take a good photo so that she can take a photo, and then he takes them all away.
Yep.
So you've got this piece of A5 Wagyu beef. The plaque from this farm, this Miyazaki farm that it's at, is actually sitting in the chef's table room.
Yep.
And next to it is this, like potato puree with these edible, what look like lily pad flowers or I guess leaves on top. And then this kind of demi-glaze sauce that it all sits in. Thoughts, Rhonda?
Well,
I think this is your first actual Wagyu
I've
experience.
never had Wagyu before. So I can say it's the best Wagyu I've ever had.
Is it the best piece of meat you've ever had?
Yes, it's the best piece of steak
beef.
of beef that I have ever had. It was fantastic, and all of it together was even better. Weirdly enough, that lily pad looking leaf was amazing together.
Good.
And then it was funny because this is why I think Matt was also like, keep some bread or not eat all the bread because you don't want it to fill you up. But when there's still a little sauce on the plate,
Goodness.
This is when Jeremy was taking my leftover bread and sopping up the bread and the juice together and then eating it. And it was really good. Because I think you made me taste, I think it was this one, you made me taste the focaccia.
Oh, the focaccia dipped in this was even more life-changing than the focaccia on its own.
So it was really, really good. And it was super funny because I think too, at this point too, like it was getting a little bit bigger, and the food, like this steak was, not a quarter size or a $50 size.
This might have been like
bigger.
an 1.5 to 2 ounce piece of Wagyu, which I don't know what they're charging over at Morimoto per ounce. I was doing a quick search on the internet. I mean, it can go for a good $50 to $75 an ounce. So in reality, this could have been a $75 to $100 piece of meat. Yeah, technically.
And it was fantastic, and it was great, and I loved it. But it was funny because Matt was like, you don't have to eat it. They're bites. You don't have to eat it all. And I'm like, but I wanna. And then I was like, is that the challenge to not? Because like, it's so good. And he basically was like, like it's almost like a try not to.
It's harder. It's harder to not eat all this food than it is to eat it.
Correct.
Because it's so good.
Correct.
I mean,
You've had Wagyu before.
I have. And this was absolutely unbelievable. It is definitely the best bite
Wagyu.
of beef, of steak I have ever had in my entire life. It melts in your mouth. It is fork tender. I mean, literally cut it, butter, whatever you have ever heard. It is true. Like this is just such another level. I don't know which bite I would personally consider better, this or the scallop bite. I would probably nudge it out with this. But yeah, it might be the best bite of food that I personally have ever had in my entire life.
Okay.
And
again, it should be.
Our next Disney cruise, like we do like a Palo or whatever, I wouldn't mind inquiring about a little Wagyu upgrade or something and try it somewhere like that. Just blown away. Before we move on in order, I had skipped by. So we're going through not only the menu, but we have our photos up on one of our screens so we can kind of walk ourselves through trying to remember this 4-hour experience because you are taking so much in. So I forgot a drink earlier. I believe it was my second zero proof beverage. It came after that honey mead kind of banana wine thingy. It was a rose drink. Mm-hmm. All right. I'm going to paint a picture the best way that I can to describe this beverage.
Okay.
All right. I want you to close your eyes.
Okay.
Okay. I know you're not a big bath person, but
God.
Picture yourself in a bathtub, and the temperature is whatever the perfect temperature for you is.
Okay.
All right. It doesn't get colder. The temperature stays and maintains the whole time you're sitting in this tub, which doesn't normally happen unless you're in a hot tub. You're surrounded. There's a big tub. Huge, right? And it's molded to fit your body perfectly. Whatever makes you the most comfortable.
Okay.
Surrounded by candles. Floating on top of the water is like lavender bubbles and rose petals, right? Mm-hmm. The rest of the room is dim. You've got your favorite glass of whatever it may be. And music's playing, probably something like, I'd say like the acoustic.
Kenny G.
Maybe some Kenny G. Or like the acoustic stylings of a Taylor Swift, you know, in a Sabrina Carpenter, a Gracie Abrams style, right?
Okay.
That's what this drink tastes like. Every everything will float away. It is the most flavorful thing. Like when you have like rose or rose water and things, it's just, I always feel like it's just like this little, I don't know how to explain it. This drink was the most perfectly crafted beverage I've ever had. It like took you to another world. I sipped it as slow as I could.
Yeah.
I want to know how to make this. How can I get it anywhere else?
I think
can't
this was the one where they
explain what it
talked
tasted
about
like.
it taking 3 days.
I think it did.
Something.
Yeah. It blew my entire mind. I loved it.
Yeah.
Rose something or other. Oh. Now we'll move on after the steak, and before we start to move on into our final few courses, was the one you were talking about. It's kind of like an apple cider style drink.
Yeah, but it's also like a
Chianti?
No, that was the
What are you thinking of? More like a? It was like this one was like an apple cider.
Yeah, but almost like a brandy apple cider. Is that what I'm trying to?
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, like an apple cider spiked with a brandy or something. Of course, zero proof. I loved it. The bottom of the glass actually had this like a glass mountain in the bottom. Was this one right? I think.
No, that was your
Oh, that was the
tree.
green tea one. That's right. I forgot to mention that. It had a mountain in the bottom of glass that, as you drank it, the leaf from the top that I talked about, that edible leaf, would actually sit on top of the peak of the mountain. So as you drank more of the drink, it literally looked like a mountain was rising out of the clouds from that top green foam. And then it had the like green mossy top because of that leaf that had fallen on it. That wasn't this one, but this was still a pretty cool glass. And I liked it. This was the one that I thought would be good cold, which it was served, or hot,
and
warm, sitting by a fire. Yeah, like listening to Kenny G for sure. Or just, again, like sitting out here with all of our lights off, watching a Hallmark movie. The only thing lighting up the room is the tree and a fireplace, and you're sipping this beverage, hot or cold, with the person that you love. That would be you. All right, let's move on to our first technical dessert dish, but also the cheese course, which was this purple haze Chevere, a Thai guava, and Rapignard VSOP.
It was goat cheese, man.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
But what's all this stuff around it? It was like almost like a
but
pudding jello.
It did. It looked like it, but he said it was a goat cheese.
Yeah,
because I love goat cheese, so I was very excited for this dish.
What did you think?
It was the best goat cheese I've ever had.
Now I'm rolling my eyes at you
because it was like firm but creamy. Because if anybody knows goat cheese, a lot of times if you break it off, sometimes it'll almost seem to crumble.
Yeah.
This did not.
Yeah.
This was because you had to kind of get in there, so it wasn't too creamy, but it wasn't too firm. It was just right. And then with this,
Are you Goldilocks?
foamy, like it looked like a cream, like I ate that entire thing. Like
It looks
I think
like
you.
fall.
Yeah, it does, but I don't think. Did you eat all
I ate
of
the
it?
whole thing.
Oh,
I loved
okay.
it. I thought this was outstanding. Yeah.
Okay.
It's got these whatever sprinkles on top, almost look like the fall leaf colors. Like there's a yellow and an orange kind of, and like, burnt orange, whatever, burgundies. And
a little purple.
I thought it was so good. This is one of those ones that was like everything else. You're like, okay, beef. I know what beef tastes like. This is going to be amazing, but there isn't technically like a surprise. This was just surprising.
Yeah,
I didn't know what the heck to expect.
I didn't understand it. Oh, and is this the one that came with the big Cheez-It?
Yeah, it actually did. This came with huge house-made cheese crisps, which looked exactly like Cheez-Its
A
crackers.
large Cheez-It.
Yep.
It was so good. It was fantastic.
I mean, it was like a quarter the size of my head. And I got a big head. But it had the ridges on the outside. It had a little hole in the middle.
Yep.
And it just tasted like delicious baked parm, pretty much. Like a really good Parmesan.
And it was really good with the cheese dish, or it was good without it.
Yeah.
I ate the whole entire cheese crisp and the entire bowl. And it was great.
It was amazing.
So good.
At this point, they asked if anybody would be interested in coffee. I had been thinking all day I was definitely going to do a decaf coffee at some point here. So Jill was like, I would also like a decaf coffee. I said, I want a decaf coffee. And then we kind of talked you into just doing a decaf coffee as well, right?
Yeah. And so they were going to bring this coffee out, and it's just coffee. And when I say just coffee, it is actually, you can buy it.
Yeah. But it is specially blended by Joffrey's for Victoria and Albert.
Correct. And it is from Joffrey's. But I'm like, he's, saying it's a normal coffee where you bring out cream and sugar. And I was like, well, if it's that good, I'll just do black.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And it was absolutely fantastic.
Do you know what this thing is called? This contraption that they make the coffee in? I don't know.
No,
what
but
it
you
is.
can also buy it on Amazon.
Yeah. They used to have old special ones that I think a lot of people remember that looked almost like a science experiment. Did you see them sitting on the wall behind Jill?
I did not.
Yeah, it's like a big, I'm guessing that was them. It's like a big wooden tower, and then within it is like different glass canisters and like little curly thingies, corkscrew glass and all that. So this thing basically, it's got a butane thing underneath, and then it's got a glass bulb, or bowl, I should say, that's filled with water. There's a small tube, and I think of that glass bowl with the water or whatever has a filter in it. And then there's a glass tube that runs up, and up in there is where the coffee is. And then basically as the water boils, it ends up going up the tube into the grounds where it brews, and then it comes back down, filtering out the grounds into the big bowl, which is what they then pour right into your cup. The sugar they brought out were like these raw, they're not even cubes because they look like rocks almost, like raw sugar rocks that were outstanding in it. And then, a whole little tub of cream. And I'm not going to say it's the best coffee I've ever had, but it's very, very good.
Oh, it's very good coffee.
Even though I put like a couple sugars and a bunch of cream in mine.
Yeah, you did.
I don't really love the taste of like coffee. It's why I like flavored ones, put a lot of cream, sugar, whatever in it. You could taste the coffee in this while still really enjoying it for not liking coffee that much. You know what I mean? Like again, another thing looking back, I wish I had taken a sip of your coffee black just to get that real taste.
I would like to probably buy this because you can buy it at probably Disney Springs too. I think
the coffee. Yes, he said it was available at the Joffrey's at Disney Springs.
I would like to get some because I would like to see what it tastes like in our coffee maker as opposed to
this
that
contraption.
I mean, because it was like the way it kind of doubles. It doubles.
Yeah, well, I mean, same thing like when you use like a French press. I mean, there are certain ways to prepare the same coffee
that what
and
that's
have it taste very different.
considered a French press, like a hot French press?
No.
So you can get a couple of them. Like there's even some crazy looking ones where.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Anywhere from $130 down to $82 to $298 for a Kona. And
Okay, so it's a siphon. I think they're calling it a siphon Yeah, basically
siphon.
siphon. So
Like-
anyway, if you want to get one, go get one.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next dessert. This is a candied carrot, hazelnut praline, and cocoa soil. I don't think that right there would get anyone to guess what this thing looks like. Do you want to Bob Ross it, paint a little picture of what this dessert looks like? Because it's my favorite dessert that we had.
Yeah, this was super cool. It is a tiny ice cream cone with a little ice cream on it. It's just a tiny little ice cream cone.
Carrot cake ice cream
Yep.
on a tiny little cone. But then it is stood up in this like fudge with this cocoa soil on top.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, Sean, who was kind of filling in as pastry chef for the day or the night or whatever, he basically said, he's like, it's edible, but like, you don't have to eat it. Like, you probably won't want it. I ate the whole fudge down there, everything.
Yes, you did. I did not.
love this. So they're like the size. I think Blue Bunny makes them, but I think they also make them in the cone. Oh my gosh, why can't I think of what those cones are called?
Drumsticks?
Yeah, drumsticks. They make these little mini cones, and that's kind of the size of it. But I just loved it. It was such a creamy, delicious ice cream. But it was like, that a serving was like the size of a big grape or something. So it was like, I want more.
It was so good.
But I mean, we wouldn't need it because we had so much more stuff that was still coming to us. So next, we are going to move on to the 68% Valderona Nyangbo dark chocolate, caramelized and spiced pineapple. Would you describe this as like a mousse, kind of?
Yeah, I think so.
Moussey a little bit. So,
Yeah.
so the bottom is almost like this
a
little
cookie,
wafer,
yeah,
right? Cookie
yeah.
wafer.
I think that was an almond one.
Almond, yeah.
I think you said that.
Almost like an almond shortbread, maybe
Something.
you could say. On top of that was this round like mousse, and then this chocolate disc on top of there. You have some little edible like cream, I guess, dots around, or white chocolate dots, and then you've got the spiced candied kind of pineapple on top, and a couple little flower petals. How'd you like this one?
I really liked this one. This was really good.
I did too. It was very comparable actually to the Chef de France one that I had, but better
Yeah.
because it wasn't overly rich the way that one was.
Yes, this was on the nicer side.
Yeah,
Of,
a little bit lighter.
Yes, lighter side.
Oh yeah, I
Very
thought
good.
this one was really
Very
good.
good.
So at this point, because we've only got one left, one course left, they bring us out our menus.
Mm-hmm.
So these are printed daily. It has the date on them. It has
Beautiful paper.
Yeah, the paper is like
Beautiful.
a little bit thicker.
It looks like a
almost
wedding
shiny.
invitation.
It does. And they come with an envelope with each of our names printed on the envelope. So a very cool like keepsake, I would say. So we finished. He said basically, you started off with 3 bites. We're going to end you with 3 bites.
Yep.
An extra bite was a happy 70th, a little birthday bite, which was super good that they brought. We had the opera gâteau, a lemon ganache square, blueberry macaroon, and then a chartreuse baba.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of it? Do you remember what? Because let's look at the lemon ganache squares because those are very memorable.
Yes, we're in this like raw sugar that you would sprinkle on creme brulee and fire. Super pretty, and that I think Jill loves lemons. I love lemons too. I think we almost should have saved this for last.
I was going to say this should have been our last bite. We ate it first out of these little ones, and it 100% should have been last. I
so
agree
good.
with you. Yeah.
So clean, refreshing,
Yep.
so good. Then next was the spoon.
Yeah,
that we
so this
ate.
one was a spoon. So this one, I believe,
It's
was the lemon. No, this was,
No,
I'm sorry, the opera gâteau.
No, I think that was the blueberry one. So that was the
So this was whatever
the
this
baba
was. Yeah,
ganache.
the chartreuse baba.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I think that was that because it's literally on the spoon. So
Gold
you just
spoon.
Yeah, you just pick it up and put it in your mouth. It basically looks like this almost green looking little ball.
Yeah.
With this edible green and gold flour with raspberry little center thing. And you just eat this whole thing. This was surprising because I don't think I expected the ball to be spongy
It was like a sponge cake. I thought it was going to be like a creamy like mousse or something.
I thought something, but so it was surprising.
Yeah.
It was good. It was very good. But it was my least favorite out of all 3 bites. And then my second favorite was the blueberry. So it was like half a blueberry macaroon that was tinier than a normal macaroon.
Yeah. And this was served separate on its own little pedestal.
Yes.
Like its own little cake stand,
Yeah,
actually.
It was super cute. And then it had some blueberry buttercream and then half a blueberry that they did something to. And this was fantastic.
Yeah. It had so much blueberry flavor.
But not overpowering,
right.
which is crazy.
Yeah, it was refreshing. It was like, this also is a good ending one, but I definitely think those lemon ganache squares to end your entire meal.
And then the bite.
And we had to end our meal.
Well, the 70th bite to me was most comparable to a stacked tiramisu.
Yeah.
But way better. I mean, of course, this was so good because he explained it, and the way he explained it too, I'm thinking, like, this is how I prefer probably tiramisu to be done, but then it's not tiramisu.
Yeah.
It's just a coffee cake, and anyways,
Yeah.
it was really, really good.
Oh, I'm so sad. I was sad last night. I'm sad now. Like the meal's over for a second time almost. But yeah, I can't even believe we got the opportunity to do this. Like, yeah, thank you, Jill. Happy 70th birthday again. Jill and Steve have become like family to us over the years. It's another one of those relationships that was built because of this silly Facebook group and podcast and social media. And they're like family now. And it's just absolutely amazing. So, scale of 1 to 10, what'd you think of Victoria & Albert's Chef's Table?
10 out of 10.
Agreed.
I would like to actually do it again.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is not something that I would want to do every year, but a big to do a big maybe anniversary, and we could.
We're
do
thinking
Queen
of our
Victoria.
20th maybe in 2026 or something. Like, okay, do you believe that this is worth the cost?
Absolutely, 100%. I really do.
Was that a fear of yours going in? Will this be worth the cost of something 100%. Like this? Yeah.
I thought, I mean, why? Like, why would almost anybody do this? Now, for you, I felt more like, and I mean, honestly, just watching you and I mean, I think that's too how Jill felt. Like, I mean, watching us experience this, I get it. Like, I'd love to go with Rachel.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
oh no, I'd love to go with Lucy. Like,
I mean,
again, two
other
other just people that love food the way that I do.
I'd love to. I feel like Jill. I'd love to sit and watch. Yeah. So, like, if we did it again, absolutely, I would love to do like the Queen Victoria's room.
Yeah, almost work our way
like
backwards,
that.
and then potentially do it a third time in the main dining hall or something. You know, for another big something. Years from now, but. I mean, this is, to me, this would be a save it up. Yes, you 100% save for this.
And then don't do it, for another 5, 6, however many years. Save up again. Because this to me is like those people that get to come to Disney, unfortunately once or twice, maybe a year, or once or twice, maybe a lifetime.
Right.
I think this is something that I would, 5 years ago, I would have never in my entire life said, oh my God, yes, to spend money on food like this. But yeah, I mean, it was everything and anything that I've ever experienced that I'm like, wow, okay. I kind of get it.
Is it the best meal you've ever had?
Oh, well, absolutely.
Yeah. Best.
Because again, this is the most money that has ever been spent on food.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have to be the best meal you've ever had.
Well, and I understand that, but I feel like it should be, and I'm glad I can say that it is.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Like,
yeah, I agree completely.
We've gone to other places and had food that's very good, and again, I think this is something where we should try to find somewhere, maybe a Michelin star and see, Jill talked about St. Pete. Yeah, there's places we could try. But yeah, this was, again, my joke with all my clients would be, if somebody was like, here's $1,000, I want you to spend it at Disney. A sweet client did this for me. If they did, then I would be like, okay, well, I'm going to stay at the Grand Flow instead of spending it on food. I'm going to stay at the Riviera that we haven't stayed. But now I get it.
Yeah, I do
get
too.
it.
I totally
I'm
do.
like, okay, I can go. All right, I'm going to go spend it here now.
It is definitely the best meal I've ever had, the best food experience I've ever had. Honestly, it's one of the best life experiences I've had. And because it is an entire experience. It's not just the food, which is absolutely mind-blowing, but it is everything else about it. You know, again, like I feel like from the moment I squeeze my big butt into my suit pants, you know, until right now. And over the next couple of weeks, as we see some folks and they want to hear more about it or whatever, like this experience was unbelievable.
Did you dream about it?
I think I did. I still don't really remember my dreams. I don't felt like I slept, but then I woke up and I just felt energized and I just wanted to keep talking about it. Like I just loved this. It is, bucket list. And, you know, I feel like a lot of times bucket lists are all over the place. You have people that will create bucket lists that they know are attainable. Mm-hmm. You have people that create them that don't feel so attainable, but it's like their motivation to work towards them.
Right.
And then I feel like you have it where you're just like, this isn't going to happen. Right.
Right.
You know, and I think it's okay to have those too. Like, it's okay to me be like, I would love to sit down and have dinner with Josh Gad. Right. It's okay to be on my bucket list, but that really, for the most part, is kind of out of my actual realm of being, right? That just, there's so many things that have to go into it.
Right.
So
like us going to Tokyo.
Right. I mean, that is a bucket list, but there's a lot, but we are technically in control of that, right? We were in control of a bucket list item if we wanted, like Victoria and Albert's, but it was still one of those. I just thought like, I don't know when this will happen or if it'll ever happen. And now that it has, you know, for me to be able to go cross that off of a list of top things at Disney, one of the top 3 that I want to do, 2 more to go. You know, so I think that's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. So I hope that everybody enjoyed this. You know, maybe you have always dreamed about going to Victoria and Albert's, and this just kind of like seals that dream, and you're going to do everything you can to get those reservations 60 days out. You know, maybe this was something that really wasn't on your radar, and now it is. Yeah. I don't know, but we would love to hear your feedback for anyone that has been, anyone that's thinking of going, anyone that maybe this convinced to go. And if Matt is your server, tell him we say hello. So one other thing, if you stick around to the very end of the episode, we got another bonus for you, because right before we get into the final theme song, there's going to be a bonus of Rhonda reading the entire Victoria and Albert's menu, as requested by our good friend Lucy. So you definitely want to stick around so you do not miss that at all. Anyway, thank you all so much for sitting through another very lengthy episode, but we did not want to miss a beat in talking about this incredible experience. So if you want more, because we got a lot more obviously coming up, those brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday, you got to hit that subscribe button. And if you are ready for that next trip, of course, no matter where you want to go, our trusted partner, MEI-Travel, will handle the planning so you can focus on the memories. They offer free vacation planning services and have nearly 20 years of experience creating memorable vacations. Visit mainstmagic.com/travel for a fee-free, no-obligation quote today. And then, of course, as long as you're out there, you're getting ready to plan that next vacation, you're buying that weird coffee thing that Rhonda told you about on Amazon. Maybe you're getting some Victorian titanium silverware that I actually would like to maybe purchase at some point in our life, because we're going to set up dining spots all over our dining room table that nobody's ever going to eat at. And then if they do want to eat, I'm going to take the plate away from them, and then I'm going to give them a Dixie styrofoam plate. But we would love if you could please leave us a rating and review,
because it helps our show grow.
That's all we've got. We'll see you real soon. All right, so here is Rhonda's reading of the chef's table menu at Victoria and Albert's from November 30th, 2024. Rhonda?
So I apologize in advance. Rosemary and orchard mist. The first thing is a Jamon de Belatot, huckleberry, shallot, oxtail, Asian pear, a Guinness stout, loup de mer, malt vinegar, and capers. Second thing is imperial Kaluga, mezcal avocado, Guy Larmandaire, Vetus Brute Zero, Cote de Blancs. Hannah Banana.
This one's outstanding. I'm waiting for you to say it.
Habit.
Hippopotamus? This is BS. Why does he get all the easy words? Go, give it a shot. Give it a shot.
Bandana.
It's okay.
Habana Anna. Habana.
Rosanna Dana. Okay. See if you can get on to the next one. I think you should do pretty good on that.
Hamachi, gooseberry, coriander.
Mm-hmm.
Nitro, nigiri, cabaron, batanelli. La vis in rules.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's move on to the next one.
Glacier 51, toothfish, Spanish carabino, calabarana chili, bordegas la canana, la
You had so many extra letters. It's a 4-letter word.
but the end
You
something.
said like Canada or something. I don't even know what you just said. This is fun. This was Lucy's idea, by the way. This is great. I'm having so much. I'm lost. Where were we? You were at La Canada. Oh, Canada.
Navai,
Yep.
Rizes, Baxis, Coyote.
Okay. All right. You just now leaving out letters. You got this next one. At least you get the first.
Diver,
4 words.
scallop, heirloom, apple, Arabico, Leonardo.
So many extra letters. Oh my goodness.
Dr. Lucen, Urton Singer, Wise Garten, Tracken, Riesling, Mol, Kanja.
Okay. All right.
Rohan Duck, Diacon, Grand Marnier.
You know how to pronounce that one.
Because I've seen that one before.
You've said it plenty of times in your 20s when you were ordering it.
Marine Layer, Lara, Sama, Manhattan.
I got to provide this so people can read it along with you. All right. We're on to the next dish.
This is not nice. Coronado lamb, mandarin sweet potatoes, bodegas barreca brega, caltud, albaco.
Okay.
Mizzy can't. What is that?
You're on your own. for these.
A5, Natassium, Applewood bacon,
You got that. That was spot on.
Gimmico, Borgego, and Fingley. No name, Piedmont, Borhorn, Bunber. I don't even know. Purple Haze, Chavert, Thai Guava, Repaner, VSOP, VSOP. It's not a word.
This is so much fun for me. I'm having a blast. I got to read all these during the regular episode. It's not going to go well for me.
Banda, Cote de Buda. I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
Ben Santo Shananti Sherry.
You said Shanati.
Oh,
It's Chianti.
it's Chianti.
That's Chianti, yes, it
I knew
is.
that
It's-
one.
You said Chianti. That's so funny. I mean, to be fair, spelling is ridiculous. It should not start with a CH. I would think it'd be Chianti. But it's Chianti on that
Candied carrots, hazelnut praline, cocoa soil.
one. Well done there.
68% Verona, Daigombo dark chocolate, caramelized and spiced pineapple. Opera Gâteau, lemon ganache square, blueberry macaron, chartreuse beba.
What is the coffee?
Oh God. Sulawesi, Indonesia, organic and fair trade coffee.
And good job. And that, folks, is Rhonda reading the chef's table menu from Victorian Albert's from November 30th, 2024.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts, Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.